just woke up from a long sleep. I decided to stop being a simp chasing the school beauty for 7 years. Turning back, I set my sights on the violent school overlord, the one I used to avoid like the plague. I even dared to plant a loud kiss on her cold face. Seeing this, her underlings beside her not only didn't stop me, but were also thoughtful enough to pool money for us to get a hotel room. The reason I am so bold is because in my past life, I didn't know, until I was on my deathbed, that the school overlord, Liu Ruyan, was in love with me to the bone. But because of her insecurities and sensitivity, she was afraid of rejection, so she never dared to confess. She only dared to love me secretly from afar. She waited until I was paralyzed to take the chance to be by my side, meticulously taking care of me for 3 whole years. Therefore, upon returning to this 11th grade year, I decided I would proactively approach her. Just like in my past life, the class president, Gu Ba Da, walked over and nudged my arm lightly. Come with me to find Liu Ruyan, as if afraid of being misunderstood. He quickly continued to explain. The student council will be doing an inspection tomorrow. Her skipping class will cause our class conduct points to be deducted. I am only doing this for the collective good of the class. I looked at Gui Bada and remembered that something like this also happened in my past life. But at that time, I didn't want to get involved with someone like the school overlord Liu Ruyan, so I didn't hesitate to refuse immediately. After that, Gui Bada went to find Liu Ruyan alone. When he returned the next day, he just cried silently. I asked what had happened, but Gui Bada refused to say a single word. Because of that incident, I became even more certain that Liu Ruyan was not someone to be trifled with. From then on, I always subconsciously found ways to avoid her. As a result, the already scarce connection between us became even more distant. Are you coming or not? Returning to the present, I nodded slightly. Of course, to understand more about her current life in the apartment complex. Let's go. Let's go. I am about to starve to death. Liu Ruyan walked in front. They were lethargically discussing what to eat. Unexpectedly, as soon as they opened the door, they saw 2 male students standing right outside the door. Gi Ba Da. And I also didn't expect the door to open. So suddenly, both of us were stunned, our eyes wide. When she saw me, Liu Ruyan's gaze paused for a moment, but then she immediately and naturally looked away. Liu Ruyan asked coldly, do I know you people? Gu Ba Da formally introduced himself. After the classes were reassigned, you're in class 7, and I am the president of class 7. I came looking for you to remind you to come back to school tomorrow. Liu Ruyan curled her lips slightly and let out a sneer. Whether I go to school or not, what does it have to do with you? Gu Ba Da said seriously, if you don't go, not only will your personal conduct score be deducted, but it will also affect the competition score of the entire class. Classmate Liu Ruyan, I hope you have some sense of collective responsibility. Don't affect the entire class. Liu Ruyan looked as if she had heard something ridiculous. Collective responsibility? Sorry, I've never had such a thing. If you're afraid of me dragging you down, you can just transfer classes. Then why don't you transfer? Because I don't feel like it. So what? Liu Ruyan licked her lips. She had no mood to continue talking to him, being in the same class as me. Consider it your bad luck. If there's something you're not happy with, deal with it yourself. If you can't deal with it, then it's best to shut up and endure it. Got it? Gu Ba Da's face flushed red with anger. Liu Ruyan, in middle school, your grades were so good, but now you've fallen so far. Don't you feel you've let your parents down? Chen Jiang and Bai Ningbing, who were originally standing with their arms crossed watching the show, suddenly heard this sentence. Both of their expressions changed instantly. Liu Ruyan's father was a gambler. In the year of the high school entrance exams, just for 2,000 yuan, he accidentally beat her mother to death and then fled without a trace. Liu Ruyan's personality also changed from that moment on. She started to become rebellious. Her parents were always her hidden pain. Coincidentally, yesterday was the anniversary of her mother's death. She spent the entire day at the cemetery and only returned early this morning. The two of them didn't even dare to ask a single question. Yet this trashy class president popped up out of nowhere and dared to touch on someone else's sore spot. As expected, Liu Ruyan's gaze suddenly turned bone-chillingly cold. Mr. Class president wants to control me, she smirked. Her smile was full of mystery. I'll humor you. Play a game with me. If you win, then from now on, I will listen to you. Are you serious? At this moment, Gu Ba Da still didn't know how formidable this girl was. He only thought about being able to tame the school's big boss like this. His ego soared. He believed it to be true. He was even afraid she would change her mind. So he hastily agreed. I'll play with you. You have to keep your word. Liu Ruyan said languidly. Come in. Gui Ba Da was about to follow, when he suddenly remembered I was still standing behind him. He turned around and said, Xiao Fan, you can go back first. Thanks for coming with me today. I shook my head and followed Liu Ruyan inside. I think I should stay with you. There's no need. Liu Ruyan didn't invite you to play. Gu Ba Da blocked me with his hand, but when he met my deep, quiet gaze, he subconsciously felt that his petty calculations had been seen through, making him extremely flustered. His voice naturally became a mumble. It's getting late. I stared sternly at Gui Ba Da for a moment and pushed his hand away. Walking straight into the living room, Liu Ruyan heard the noise and turned around. Her surprised gaze rested on me. She frowned slightly in annoyance. Did I invite you? The Liu Ruyan of this year still didn't have the maturity and composure she had when she took care of me later. The corners of her eyes were filled with a wild and distant look, both cool and full of personality, carrying an irresistible charm that captivated people, extremely dangerous. Under the pressure of her overwhelming aura and her sharp gaze, I honestly answered no. The boy's jet-black eyes were as gentle as water, making Liu Ruyan feel as if she were being burned by fire. She said irritably, "Then why? Haven't you gotten out yet?" I was stunned by her fierce attitude. During the 3 years she cared for me in my past life, Liu Ruyan was always gentle and doted on me endlessly, which made me forget that at this moment. She was a princess full of thorns. I looked into the girl's cold eyes, and my heart just kept sinking. Right now, there was absolutely no trace of her secret love for me, nor did I see the insecurity or sensitivity she once mentioned, only ruthless coldness, a fierce look and clear distance. This discovery made my mood turn sour, but I was still unwilling to give up right at the start. I had to risk it and try to negotiate with her. "I want to stay here. Can I?" "You can't. I don't want to see your face here. Get lost now." She was really fierce at this moment. I felt both wronged and scared. My hands were clasped together tightly in confusion. The next second, I gathered all my courage, my voice trembling but resolute. I am not leaving." Liu Ruyan laughed out of anger. "Just a few words, and he's already this scared. If he insists on staying and sees my truly terrifying side later, he'll probably run away from me for the rest of his life." Bei Ningbing saw that I was on the verge of tears and spoke up to defuse the situation. "Sister Liu, look, our school heartthrob is so pitifully scared. If he wants to stay, just let him stay. He's not in the way or anything." "What the hell do you know?" Liu Ruyan replied irritably. "Forget it." At this moment, Gui Ba Da interjected. "Don't pay him any mind. Classmate, Liu Ruyan, let's start the game." But Liu Ruyan didn't pay him any attention. Instead, she turned to ask me again, "Are you really not leaving?" I remained silent, not answering. Liu Ruyan suddenly strode towards me and dragged me straight into the bedroom. The expressions of everyone present changed. Dui Ba Da's face froze. "Classmate Liu Ruyan." Chen Yu was so angry he gritted his teeth and questioned her. "Liu Ruyan, what the hell are you doing?" Chen, Jiang, and Bei Ningbing also asked in bewilderment. "Sister Liu." Liu Ruyan acted as if she heard nothing. She just held my hand tightly, with her long legs. It only took a few steps to reach the bedroom. She pushed open the door and shoved me inside. I was about to turn around and run out, but Liu Ruyan was even faster. The sound of the door slamming shut and being locked echoed. Every movement was smooth and decisive. I couldn't believe it and tried turning the doorknob. As expected, it couldn't be opened anymore. "Liu Ruyan, let me out." I pressed my ear against the door to listen carefully, but I couldn't hear any noise from outside. It seems this room is very soundproof. I let out a soft sigh. I didn't understand why Liu Ruyan did that, but I knew for sure she wouldn't let me out any time soon. Helplessly, I turned back to observe the room. What surprised me was that, to the right of the computer, several books were stacked very neatly. Their titles were all things I recognized. For example, Practical C Programming Language, or C++ Primer Plus. Looking at these stacks of books, I couldn't help but be surprised that she had been self-studying these things so early on. The room wasn't very big. It only took a few minutes for me to look over everything. After that, I started to feel restless. A bedroom is an extremely private space. When my curiosity subsided, I could feel her presence everywhere. I was so flustered I didn't know what to do. I didn't dare to sit on her bed. On the only computer chair were her long socks. I definitely didn't dare to touch her personal belongings carelessly. In the end, I could only stand there awkwardly, silently wishing for that door to be opened soon. After locking me in the bedroom, Liu Ruyan turned around and saw faces with various expressions. Then she silently walked to the refrigerator, took out an apple, and threw it straight at Gui Ba Da. Gui Ba Da frantically caught it and said, "Classmate Liu Ruyan, you're too kind. Thanks for the apple. But I don't really like apples. What I like is..." "Who said you could eat it?" Liu Ruyan cut him off coldly. She pointed in a direction and ordered, "You want to play a game, right? Go stand over there." Do Ba Da awkwardly let out an O. Holding the apple with both hands, he shuffled to the indicated spot. "What's the game? What counts as a win? If I win, will you really agree to go back to school?" Liu Ruyan picked up a set of darts and sat down on the sofa. She tilted her head slightly and said, "Put the apple on your head." Gui Ba Da felt that something was wrong. He hesitated. "Are you playing or not? If not, get out." Liu Ruyan urged impatiently. "Hurry up." Gui Ba Da thought about her promise and had to comply. He placed the apple on his head, staring worriedly at Liu Ruyan. What kind of game is this? What are the rules?" Liu Ruyan gave a wicked smile. "The rule is, throw the dart. As long as you don't dodge, it counts as my win." Gui Ba Da's face immediately turned pale. Liu Ruyan, he was so scared, his legs were trembling. Who knows how good her aim is? What if she misses, and it hits my body or my face? Stand still for me. Liu Ruyan sneered indifferently. Gui Ba Da cried out, trembling. His voice was broken with fear. But Liu Ruyan didn't give him any more time to think. Annoyed, she casually picked up a dart and just threw it straight ahead. Tiubada was scared out of his wits. The moment he saw the dart flying towards him, he screamed and instinctively dodged to the side. His legs gave out, and he collapsed onto the floor, his whole body trembling uncontrollably. Thud, the dart cut through the air and embedded itself deep in the wall behind. Its vibrating sound still seemed to echo in his ears. Guy Ba Da looked up, shivering. His face became even more drained of color. That spot was originally where his face was. The feeling of terror still enveloped his mind. The way he looked at Liu Ruyin now no longer had any of the spirit of a male student, but was filled only with utter terror. She's truly terrifying. A complete lunatic. Gu Ba Da. Now? Just wanted to flee immediately. He scrambled up from the floor and tremblingly rushed out the door. Liu Ruyin let out a cold, contemptuous snort. She stood up from the sofa and told the remaining people, "You guys go eat, don't worry about me." Chen Jiang's gaze flickered towards the bedroom. "Sister Liu, should we bring back some food for you later?" After a moment's hesitation, he deliberately probed further. "Or should we bring back 2 portions? No need." She flatly refused. Chen Jiang said, "Oh," he tried to hold it in, but couldn't resist. Sister Liu, our school heartthrob is famous for being a coward. I think he looked pretty terrified just now. If it's nothing important, then maybe you should let him go home." "Did I say I wasn't going to let him go?" Liu Ruyan lazily shot him a sideways glance. Chen Jiang cleared his throat softly and mumbled under his breath, "Then you should let him go home. It's not like I am going to eat him alive. Am I?" Liu Ruyan was annoyed as soon as she heard him. Chen Jiang touched his nose and said sarcastically, "Who knows about that?" Liu Ruyan looked at his demeanor and kicked out at him. "Get those dirty thoughts out of your head. Get out of my sight quickly." Whoa, me? Dirty? Chen Jiang said in a teasing tone. "Even if I am dirty, I am not as." Bai Ningbing raised her eyebrows with great interest. It seemed she had figured something out. She put an arm around Chen Jiang's shoulder and dragged him out. Covering his mouth, she said, Go. Let's go eat. Why are you always meddling in other people's business? Sister Liu always knows what she's doing. Have you ever seen her mess up?" Chen Jiang couldn't argue back. Actually, he also knew in his heart that Liu Ruyan wouldn't do anything excessive, but he still added a reminder. "It's already past 8 o'clock. Our school heartthrob is a good student. You better let him go home early. Otherwise, watch out for him." "Get out," Liu Ruyan shouted, having lost all patience. "Don't be angry, Sister Liu. Well, drag him off to be executed right away." Bai Ningbing laughed loudly and pulled Chen Jiang outside. The two of them walked past Chen Yu. From the moment Liu Ruyan locked me in the bedroom, Chen Yu, who had been scowling all this time, suddenly spoke up. "Liu Ruyan, you really like him, don't you?" My appearance made Chen Yu feel an immense threat. Not to mention, not even Chen Jiang and Bai Ningbing were ever allowed to set foot in her bedroom. Yet today, she proactively stuffed a boy, whom she had only met a few times and wasn't close to, into her private room. Now she even wants to kick all of them out, to be alone with that guy. How could that not make him worry, get angry, and feel jealous? "Liu Ruyan, answer me." Liu Ruyan rubbed her neck slightly. She didn't bother to answer his question, but just spoke up irritably. "You can get lost, too." Chen Yu's face suddenly turned pale. "I knew it. You set your sights on him, haven't you? Your boyfriend. How can you be so promiscuous? Do you think you deserve my feelings by doing this?" Liu Ruyan suddenly shot him a cold look. Her voice was full of sarcasm. "I've always been promiscuous. You're only just realizing that now?" Chen Yu choked on his anger. She was indeed shamelessly promiscuous, but Liu Ruyan didn't care at all about his feelings. She continued to raise an eyebrow and said in an indifferent tone, "If you can accept it, well, continue. If not, let's break up." Chen Yu's eyes suddenly stung. He was also a school heartthrob once. In the past, his pursuers always served and pampered him, always finding ways to coax him. Only Liu Ruyan completely disregarded him, not even bothering to frown. In the end, until his fingertips were numb from clenching them, he finally turned and left. Resentfully, "Remember to eat dinner. Don't let yourself go hungry. I'll come find you again tomorrow." Liu Ruyan let out a soft sneer. The laugh was as faint as a thread, but it made him feel utterly humiliated, and he hastily turned and fled. After waiting for everyone to leave, she walked over and opened the bedroom door, finding me standing there in a daze. "What are you doing just standing there like a statue?" I stole a quick glance at her, and immediately averted my gaze. I like standing." Liu Ruyan looked at my demeanor, the way I wanted to look but didn't dare to look at her. She suddenly found it amusing. "Do I look that scary?" I lowered my head and replied softly, "No, not scary at all." "If I am not scary, then why don't you dare look at me?" Liu Ruyan said with a teasing smile. "A student who doesn't look the other person in the eye while talking, that's considered very impolite, you know. Don't good students like you know that?" "Lift your head," she ordered in a low voice. "Otherwise, don't even think about going home tonight." Startled, I quickly looked up at her. Her pupils were jet black. Her gaze was clear, without a trace of impurity. It made Liu Ruyan's heart skip a beat. She pursed her lips slightly, revealing her delicate jawline. She said nothing, which made her appear even sharper and colder. I only glanced at her for a moment, but already felt a heavy pressure weighing down on me. To dispel the awkward atmosphere, I pretended nothing was wrong and slipped past her to go outside. "Where are my friends?" "They all left." I was surprised. They left? Hearing that, I quickly walked out to the living room. Sure enough, there was no one there. Liu Ruyan leisurely followed behind. She didn't say anything either, just quietly stood and watched me. I asked curiously, "What game did you play with my friend?" Liu Ruyan gave a mischievous smile. "I am not telling you." "All right then." The young Liu Ruyan was truly both stubborn and defiant. Once she decided not to say something, I knew I would never be able to pry it out of her. So I didn't press the matter, and changed to a different question. "So, are you going to school tomorrow?" Liu Ruyan raised an eyebrow. "Why should I have to go?" "Because we're students. We need to study hard and make progress every day." "Study hard my ass. Make progress every day." Liu Ruyan's eyes widened. She let out a lazy laugh. "That's something for you good students. We're the bad students who skip class." "Got it, little one. Do you know what the first rule for bad students is?" "There's a code of conduct for bad students." "That doesn't sound very proper." I hesitated and shook my head. "I don't know." After saying that, I saw she was still staring at me, so I added another sentence. "What is it?" Liu Ruyan smirked. She seemed to be in a very good mood, she said leisurely. "The first rule for bad students is that you're forbidden to go to school. You're required to skip class." As expected, she just made that up. Speechless, I shot her a look. This look was gentle and soft, like a kitten's paw lightly scratching her heart. The emotions buried deep in her heart were like bamboo shoots after the rain, sprouting frantically and growing at an incredible rate. Liu Ruyan came to stand in front of me. She bent down slightly, with a hint of imperceptible restlessness and tension. "Little one, do you really hope he'll go to school?" I nodded. "Why?" The distance between us was so close I could feel her hot breath puffing densely against my ear. "What's this? Are you trying to flirt with me?" An imperceptible restlessness and tension. "Little one, do you really want me to go to school?" I nodded slightly. "But why?" We were so close that I could feel her warm breath gently brushing against my ear. "What's this? You want to?" The direct and unabashed teasing immediately made my face flush. After asking, Liu Ruyan didn't rush me for an answer. Her cold eyes were suddenly tinged with a bit of flirtatiousness, carrying a hint of a playful smile. She just stared at me quietly. I took a step back. I said blankly, "I have to go home now." After saying that, I strode towards the exit. Liu Ruyan suddenly grabbed my wrist tightly. The cool and pure sensation made the sweet feeling she had just suppressed ignite fiercely once again. "Let me take you home." "No need." I refused instinctively. "I can take the bus." Even though I've lived 2 lives, my mental age is only in my early 22nd, but I still couldn't handle the teenage Liu Ruyan. So proud and dazzling, like a thorny rose. The 3 years we spent together day and night in my past life. Her feelings were gentle and subtle, not fiery and dazzling like this, without a care for anything. Although I didn't understand why before, she treated me so coldly. But in this moment, she made me believe that her secret love for me was real, because the way she looked at me was too brilliant, like a small leopard that had just seen its prey, determined to possess it completely, making it impossible for anyone to ignore under such a fiery gaze. My heart couldn't help but skip a beat. I pulled my hand back and said softly, "Let go of my hand." "I won't." The girl gave a flirtatious smile. "Look at what time it is. The buses stopped running long ago. It'll take you home." She didn't give me a chance to refuse. She pulled me along to get her vehicle key. Then she thrust a helmet into my arms. The 2 of us went downstairs together. Liu Ruyan told me to wait for a moment. A moment later, the headlight of a motorcycle shone over. The roar of the engine followed immediately. I looked in that direction. I saw her emerge from the darkness. Then she slowly stopped beside me. "Get on." Just then, my phone rang. Liu Ruyan casually turned off the engine. The roaring sound disappeared. The surroundings became quiet. She motioned with her chin. "Answer it." Smartphones started becoming popular this year, but I was still using a Nokia with a keypad. It was something my parents bought for me, so it would be easier to contact me. The call was from my mother, Liu Ru. She naturally had a very loud voice. Her voice carried far from the earpiece. "Xiao Fan, it's past 8 p.m. Where are you?" Today, before going with Gui Boda to find Liu Ruyan, I had called Liu Ru first. I lied and said I was going out to eat and walk around with Song Ji. Once you've told the first lie, you can only cover it up with another lie. I answered slowly. I am still eating at the pedestrian street. Don't worry, Mom. I'll be home soon." Liu Ru knew her son was well behaved, so she didn't doubt my words at all. "All right. Do you need me to come pick you up?" I instinctively glanced at Liu Ruyan. Then I shook my head and said, "No, it's okay. I can get a ride home myself." After hanging up, Liu Ruyan started the engine again. The girl tossed her long hair. "Get on, my dear customer. Driver Liu is at your dedicated service." The corners of my lips turned up slightly. I held onto the seat and climbed on. Grabbed the hem of my shirt. She didn't turn her head. She said while adjusting the rearview mirror, "It's not safe for you to sit like that. You'll get thrown off. Then just drive slowly." "If I drive slowly, you probably won't get home for another 2 hours. She had me cornered. She asked leisurely, "Are you sure?" I wasn't sure. I already felt guilty for lying to my mom. If I came home that late, she would be very worried. I had no choice but to grab the hem of her shirt. "Let's go. Let me give you the address. You just need to stop 2 streets away from my house." Liu Ruyan hummed in agreement. Then she started the engine. After driving for a bit, I suddenly lowered my voice. I realized this wasn't the way home. Looking closely, The place ahead looked a bit familiar. Why are we at the pedestrian street? Good students shouldn't lie to their mothers. So I am really taking you here to eat, Li Ruyan said in a teasing tone. She stopped the motorcycle. She told me to get off first. Then she swung her long legs off the bike. Let's go. What should we eat? I asked her. What do you want to eat? In our past life, when we ate together, she always went along with what I wanted. She always said that whatever I liked, she liked too. To the point that even now, I still have no idea what her preferences are. Eat whatever you're eating, she said. Then she glanced at the brightly lit row of shops, asking about them one by one. Rice noodles, spicy soup, or mini hot pot. I looked at her with a gentle gaze. Is there anything you want to eat? Oh. Liu Ruyan looked at me and swallowed softly. I want to eat something sweet. I was very surprised. I never expected this thorny princess to like sweets. She didn't look like someone who likes sweets at all. Sweets can't be a main course. Let's go eat a proper meal first. After we eat, I'll go buy some for you, okay? I looked at her, negotiating with her. Liu Ruyan's gaze swept across my face. Her tongue gently pushed against her teeth. All right, then what do you want to eat? Realizing the conversation had come full circle, I softly added another sentence. Other than sweets, anything is fine. It was impossible to hope she would name something she wanted to eat. In the end, I took her to eat wontons. 2 bowls of hot, plump white wontons were brought out. The two of us started eating. Liu Ruyan ate very elegantly, but for some reason, her bowl was empty very quickly. After finishing, she didn't rush me, nor did she say anything. She just sat opposite me, waiting. I could feel her eyes fixed on my face. It made me feel a little flustered. Eating that bowl of wontons was torture. It was like sitting on pins and needles. After forcing myself to eat a few more bites, I put down my chopsticks and said I was full. Liu Ruyan looked at the half-full bowl I left behind. You eat less than a cat. Classmate, you're so easy to raise. I think if it were anyone else, being stared at by her like that, they wouldn't have any appetite to eat either. Liu Ruyan called the owner over to pay the bill. I didn't forget that she wanted to eat sweets. As soon as we left the wonton shop, I led the way to a dessert shop. Which one do you like? My treat. I told her to pick one. Thinking about my meager allowance at the moment, I gently reminded her, but don't pick anything too expensive. My honesty made Liu Ruyan laugh. Then give me a specific price range. I gritted my teeth and said, 100 yuan. In this year, 100 yuan for me was a very large expense. What a generous boss. She giggled. But she still played along. She pretended to look at the different cakes. The cakes in the display case came in all shapes and colors. It was like stepping into a fairy tale world. When she saw a rabbit-shaped cake, Liu Ruyan's gaze suddenly stopped. I keenly noticed it. This one? Let's get it. It's so much like her. So white and delicate, and soft and sweet. The owner came to box the cake. I was about to pay, but Liu Ruyan was faster. I told you it was my treat. I mumbled softly. She took the small cake box. She laughed teasingly. What's wrong? Are you really trying to flirt with me? Trying to win me over with that 100 yuan? You can't afford to be my sugar daddy then. I am very expensive. If you want to win me over, then, classmate, you'll have to try much harder. After buying the cake, we went outside. Liu Ruyan glanced at the time. It really was getting late, so she told me to get on the motorcycle. The motorcycle sped down the road. She kept her word, dropping me off 2 streets away from my house. The whole way, I was thinking about how to earn more money, so I could buy her more sweets in the future, until Liu Ruyan told me to get off. I finally snapped out of it. After saying goodbye, I started walking home. I had only taken a few steps, when I suddenly remembered something important. I quickly ran back. Liu Ruyan, are you coming to school tomorrow? Liu Ruyan casually took the helmet that I had just worn and put it on her own head. My scent immediately enveloped her. For some reason, her mind suddenly became foggy. Her voice unconsciously softened. You'll find out tomorrow. I nodded and said, enunciating each word clearly. In short, I really hope to see you at school tomorrow. Society in the future is incredibly competitive. A degree is the most basic stepping stone. I know Liu Ruyan is truly capable. Even if she often skipped class like in her past life, she could still achieve great things later in life. Someone as outstanding as her. I believe that in this life, with a university degree, she would surely be like a tiger with wings, going even further, climbing even higher, becoming an even more admirable existence. The next morning, I woke up a little late. By the time I rushed to school on my bike, the morning self-study session was about to start. Teacher Liu, our homeroom teacher, was already standing at the podium. As I walked towards my seat, I unconsciously glanced at the last row of seats. Liu Ruyan's seat was still completely empty. She still didn't come after all. I thought she would change her mind and come to school. I pursed my lips slightly and sighed inwardly. After sitting down, I opened my book and started studying. During the morning self-study, Dugyu Boda kept his head down. His state was exactly the same as in my past life. He didn't look well at all. When the self-study session ended, he immediately buried his face in his desk, as if he wanted to shut out the whole world. I got the hint and didn't go over to ask. I had to mull over all my questions by myself. Song Ji asked me to go to the restroom with him. I stood up to go out and get some fresh air. What's wrong with the class president? Song Ji was so curious he couldn't sit still. As soon as I arrived, I saw that his eyes were all swollen. When we just went out, was he crying? Even though I went with him yesterday, the results seemed to be unchanged, and I still don't know what kind of game Liu Ruyan played with Goi Boda yesterday. I replied that I didn't know. I didn't hear any crying, but I also saw that his eyes were swollen. What on earth happened to him? Song-ji became even more suspicious. Unable to resist, he transformed into Sherlock Holmes. He began to analyze every detail meticulously. In my opinion, it can't be because he failed an exam, because we just started the school year. I expressed my agreement. Your analysis is well-founded. Very realistic. Song-ji guessed back and forth, and then refuted. Each one himself. Finally, he clapped his hands. I'll ask my tarot cards when we get back to class, to see what on earth happened. I was a little skeptical. Are tarot cards that accurate? Tarot cards are omnipotent. You know. Song-ji stared at me decisively. How audacious. You tiny, insignificant ants. How dare you doubt the tarot cards? I quickly played along. This humble one knows his mistake. Please, Lord Tarot, spare my life. Song-ji burst out laughing. Xiao Fan, really? You're playing along so enthusiastically. How can you be so adorable? The two of us returned to the classroom, talking and laughing. Song-ji didn't like Gui Boda to begin with, so he didn't follow me to my seat to continue gossiping. As soon as he entered the classroom, he slipped back to his own seat. The bell for class rang. W.Y. Boda still had his face buried in his desk. I thought for a moment and still decided to remind him. Class president, are you asleep? Class is about to start. Guy Boda lifted his face. Tears were streaming down it. I took a tissue out of my desk drawer. I pulled one out and gave it to him. Here. Wipe your face. Guy Boda cried even harder. After wiping his face, he choked out. Liu Ruyan. She's really too scary. From now on, I am never going to bother with her again. You better stay away from her too. We simply can't afford to get involved with her. She's really fierce. He cried while mixing in resentful complaints, but he didn't mention a single word about what had happened. So I was smart enough not to ask any further. After Gui Boda finished crying, seeing that the teacher still hadn't entered the classroom, he couldn't help but steer the topic towards me. Oh, right. What happened between you and her yesterday? She locked you in her bedroom. What did she do to you? His words were more probing than concerned. I didn't want to say much. Nothing happened. Really? Gui Boda stared at my face. He didn't seem to believe it. Could it be that you two did something you shouldn't have? I could feel my tone becoming irritated. I looked up straight at him. What do you mean by something we shouldn't have? Gui Boda's face flushed slightly, faced with my clear gaze. He really couldn't bring himself to say those dirty words. He paused for a moment then said, Hey, Xiao Fan, she has a boyfriend. Her boyfriend is a delinquent from the vocational school next door. And honestly, someone like Liu Ruyan is both promiscuous and unambitious. I really don't understand why. So many people like her. What does any of that have to do with me? I said in a low voice. Gui Boda put on a concerned expression. He said in a cautionary tone, I am just looking out for you. I am afraid you'll be deceived by her. If you don't want to get hurt and don't want to get into trouble, then don't pay any attention to her. She doesn't even bother coming to school. So how could I pay attention to her? Gui Boda was choked up and couldn't say a word. I couldn't be bothered with him anymore. I opened my book and lowered my head to read. Gui Boda looked at my profile. His brows furrowed slightly. The me of the past year was very quiet. Why does it feel like, since yesterday, I've become a little unusual? And also, after he left yesterday, what exactly happened between Liu Ruyan and me? What really happened? If nothing really happened, then why am I being so tight-lipped? Gui Boda's gaze gradually became profound. All sorts of strange speculations popped into his head. Just then, the math teacher walked into the classroom. He had to quickly gather his thoughts and focus on the lecture. The math teacher's surname was Wang. She was a woman in her 50 seconds. In this class, we will learn about spatial geometry. Inside the quiet classroom, the sound of girls laughing and talking suddenly came from the hallway, along with footsteps that were getting closer. Teacher Wang frowned. She told Wang Qian, who was sitting near the door, to close it. Wang Qian had just stood up when three figures suddenly appeared at the door. The person in the lead was Liu Ruyan. Her voice was a little lethargic. It seemed she wasn't fully awake yet. Her indifferent eyes were half closed, making her look even more cold and arrogant. Bai Ningbing and Chen Jiang followed behind her. Both of them were just like Liu Ruyan, so sleepy their eyes were almost completely shut. The two of them lazily shouted in unison, reporting, Teacher. Teacher Wang looked at the three of them and said helplessly, Next time, for my class, please come to class 5 minutes early. Don't be late again. Liu Ruyan softly agreed. Chen Jiang also dragged out his words, making mumbling sounds. Teacher Wang knew these students were stubborn and hard to manage. Being able to maintain peace on the surface and not cause trouble was already a blessing. She waved her hand, signaling them. Hurry up and get back to your seat. Don't disrupt the class. Liu Ruyan nodded. After walking to her seat, she didn't even bother to take out her books. She just slumped onto her desk. She buried her head and started to sleep. Chen Jiang and Bai Ningbing were the same as her. Seeing a desk was as comforting as seeing a bed. Teacher Wang looked at the slumped heads. Her gaze rested on Liu Ruyan for a moment. She felt a deep sense of regret in her heart. In middle school, Liu Ruyan participated in the national math competition and even won the special prize. She ranked first in the high school entrance exam. She had paid special attention to this female student. When she found out Liu Ruyan had enrolled in Yizhong High School, she had planned to nurture her well. Who would have thought that after starting 10th grade, If she wasn't sleeping in class, she was skipping school altogether. She became the school's overlord, getting criticized by name every day. Her academic performance plummeted disastrously. If she truly didn't know anything, it would be one thing. But every time there was a math test, she would only do the final free response question. The main thing was, she got every single one right. She could even solve such difficult questions correctly. Teacher Wang was certain that if she were willing to do the test, her math score would never be low. She knew that kids these days go through a rebellious phase. She guessed that Liu Ruyan was in that period. She only hoped Liu Ruyan would end her rebellion soon and get back on the right track. Liu Ruyan's appearance was like a drop of water in a hot oil pan, causing a stir throughout Class 7. After math class ended, the class broke into small groups of 3 to 5, whispering and gossiping. The discussions were incredibly lively. Song Ji came to find me, his eyes shining with excitement. I think I am going crazy. Today was the closest I've ever been to the school's big sister. She's so beautiful. His hand grabbed my arm. He unconsciously tightened his grip as he spoke. I'd only seen her from a distance a few times before. I never thought she'd be even more beautiful up close. Oh my god, especially those lazy-looking eyes. I am about to faint from her beauty. I am about to faint from the pain, I said slowly. Xiao Jie, can you pinch me a little more gently? Reminded, Song Jie quickly let go. Seeing a red mark appear on my arm, he chuckled and apologized. Sorry, my bad. I was just too excited. He always pinches people when he gets excited. He's been like that since he was a kid. After growing up, he usually knows how to control it. But today, he really couldn't hold back. I didn't mind. Instead, I comforted him. It's okay. The redness will be gone in a bit. And so, Song Jie continued to discuss Liu Ruyan with me. To say discuss wasn't quite right. More accurately, it was just him, tirelessly praising Liu Ruyan's beauty. He only left reluctantly when the bell rang for class. As soon as he left, Gu Boda let out a soft HM. Such a girl-crazy fool. I frowned. Appreciating beauty is a human instinct. Xiao Ji is my friend. Don't talk about him like that. Ui Boda really felt as if I was prejudiced against him, so he couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. He pouted. I didn't say any names. What proof do you have that I was talking about him? It left me unable to argue back. I've never been good at arguing with people. I felt a little wronged. Seeing this, Gui Boda's arrogance grew even more. You're just overthinking it. If you spent this time you waste on nonsense, on your studies instead, your grades definitely wouldn't be this bad. I didn't want to hear any more. I let out a soft, mocking laugh. My personality has always been mild. I always appear calm, neither hot-headed nor cold. Guy Boda was sure I wouldn't dare to talk back to him, but this scoff, full of mockery and contempt, made him more uncomfortable than an argument would have. A fire of anger ignited in his heart. His face hardened, and he pulled out a book, flipping through it aggressively. For the next few classes, the two of us were like we were giving each other the silent treatment. Neither of us said a word to the other. Boys at this age, their relationships are so fragile and sensitive. As for the culprit who caused all this, she was still sleeping soundly on her desk until the final bell rang. As I was packing my school bag, I glanced back. The midday sunlight streamed in from the window. The girl lay with her head turned to the side. Playful beams of light danced on her delicate, high nose. Her face seemed to glow. She was as quiet and beautiful as an ancient goddess. My heart skipped a beat. While I was hesitating about whether to wake Liu Ruyan up, Gu Boda next to me suddenly put on his backpack and stood up. He walked straight towards the back row. Gu Boda stopped right at Liu Ruyan's desk. Seeing the sleeping girl's flawless side profile, the tips of his ears couldn't help but turn slightly red. He cleared his throat softly. He tapped on her desk. He said gently, "Classmate Liu Ruyan, school's out. Don't sleep anymore. Sleeping in the classroom isn't comfortable anyway." Actually, Liu Ruyan was in a half-awake, half-asleep state. Hearing the noise, she frowned slightly, not wanting to pay it any mind. But that voice kept going on and on. "Liu Ruyan, it's time for lunch. Don't sleep anymore. You've slept all morning. How are you still not rested? It's really noisy." Annoyed, Liu Ruyan lifted her head. Her drowsy eyes clearly showed her irritation at being disturbed. She shot him a cold glance. That emotionless gaze made W. Boda suddenly recall what happened yesterday. The forgotten sense of fear instantly resurfaced. He pressed his lips together. "As the class president, I was just kindly reminding you, remember to go eat." After saying that, he didn't dare wait for her reaction. He hurriedly strode away and disappeared. Liu Ruyan was about to explode with anger, but when she looked up, she saw a tall, slender figure. The curses she was about to utter got stuck in her throat. She smirked slightly. Her eyes were glued to me. Then she kicked the two people snoring beside her. Chen Jiang yelled shit and jumped up. "Earthquake! Run! Run! Damn it!" Liu Ruyan scoffed. She cursed without hesitation. "Idiot!" Chen Jiang blinked blankly. When he realized what happened, he laughed too. "Holy crap, you scared the hell out of me. Sister Liu, why did you kick me? Let's go eat." Liu Ruyan patted the still drowsy Bai Ningbing. "Let's go." She was the first one to walk out. The back door of the classroom was open, but she stubbornly walked straight to the front door. As she passed by my seat, she seemed to accidentally bump into my arm. "So sorry, little classmate." She corked her lips into a lazy smile. "I didn't mean to bump into you. Are you hurt anywhere?" "It was just a light touch." "How could I get hurt?" I shook my head. "No, It's nothing. I still have to apologize to you. She asked me what I wanted as compensation. Even though class was over, and most of the students had already left, there were still a few boarding students who didn't want to fight the crowds at the cafeteria and were still in the classroom studying. I awkwardly refused. It's such a small thing. It doesn't need compensation. Really. It's not necessary. I am really fine. That won't do. If you don't accept my compensation, you'll feel guilty about it forever. She raised an eyebrow and asked, do you drink milk tea? Bai Ningbing also sidled over. It was rare to see Liu Ruan acting so undignified. Bai Ningbing was about to die laughing inside, but her words still defended her best friend. Our sister Liu has never liked being indebted to anyone. If you don't let her compensate you, Shell, keep thinking about it. Would you really let her spend the whole day feeling terribly guilty over such a trivial matter? It's not that serious. Annoyingly, Liu Ruyan nodded vigorously. That's right, she's not wrong at all. So, do you want milk tea or not? Just say yes. Okay. Then, I'll bring it to you this afternoon. After getting an answer from me, Liu Ruyan had no intention of bothering me further. She strode decisively out of the classroom. When Chen Jiang passed by me, he gave me a little wink. Hey, school heartthrob. Bye. Heartthrob. Hi. Goodbye. After the three of them left, Song Jie, who had witnessed the whole thing, ran right up to me, his face clearly written with the word gossip. I gestured with my eyes for him to go outside before we talked. The campus of Yizhang High School was one of the most beautiful in the province. The vibrant flower beds made this summer even more intense. I strolled under the cool green canopy of trees, being shaken so hard by Song Ji that I stumbled. Ah, the school's big sister wants to buy you milk tea. If only I could drink milk tea given by her own hands, I would die a happy man. The corner of my mouth twitched. You don't have to go that far, do you? Ha 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 ha. I was just saying, 1 cup of milk tea isn't enough to trade for my insignificant life. It has to be at least 2 cups. Song Ji loved my pure and slightly naive demeanor the most. Every time he joked with me, I would always answer with utmost seriousness, giving off an adorably slow-witted vibe. But you know, the school's big sister isn't like the rumors at all. I never expected her to be so polite and kind. She's not that fierce. Is she? She even asked if I was hurt. That's right. The milk tea the big sister is bringing you this afternoon. Can I touch it? That way, it's like she treated me to milk tea too. Song Ji clasped his hands and begged me. I could only smile wryly. If I have milk tea to drink, then Zhao Jie must have some too. Let's go. I'll treat you to milk tea. Whoa, Song Ji threw an arm around my shoulder. Oh my god, you're the best. Sobs. Then can I ask for extra pearls? I answered generously. Of course. If you like, you can even add a portion of coconut jelly. Song Ji was extremely moved. I declare from this moment on, our brotherhood is bigger than the sky. The whole big sister thing can take second place for now. After Li Ruyan finished eating outside the school gate, she led Bai Ningbing and Chen Jiang into a milk tea shop. Chen Jiang had slept the entire morning. Now that he was full, all he wanted to do was go have fun. He asked Liu Ruyan, Sister Liu, should we go to the internet cafe to play games this afternoon? Liu Ruyan lowered her head, focused on choosing a milk tea. She answered nonchalantly, not going. Chen Jiang thought she wasn't interested in games, so he made another suggestion. How about we go play pool? But Liu Ruyan's answer remained the same. Not going. Then how about swimming? I said, not going. He kept making several attractive offers, but all he received were refusals. Chen Jiang suddenly remembered something. Sister Liu, do you have something to do this afternoon? The family backgrounds of Chen Jiang and Bai Ningbing were quite well off. They could be considered wealthy families. Bai Ningbing's father even expanded his business to Beijing, so she was a true, rich young lady. The two of them never had to worry about money. But Li Ruyan was completely different. She could be considered an orphan with no parents. Her relatives, just because she was a girl, and thinking about the future financial burden, no one stepped forward to adopt her. All her daily living expenses were earned by herself. She had no intention of hiding this from them. She usually took on jobs developing software or designing websites. Sometimes she would also help people hack to recover their accounts, or occasionally crack some game versions. In short, she could handle anything related to computers. The amount of money she earned was not small at all. Not working today. After answering, Liu Ruyan turned to the staff and ordered a mango pomelo sago. Then she turned her head again to ask if the other two wanted anything. Bai Ningbing shook her head and refused. I am not having any. Chen Jiang even showed a look of disdain. I would never like these sweet and rich drinks. Chen Jiang stared intently at Liu Ruyan. But then again, come on, Sister Liu. You don't want to work, and you don't want to go out either. So what exactly are you planning to do this afternoon? Deliver milk tea. To apologize to someone. Does delivering 1 cup of milk tea take a whole afternoon? So what are you doing after delivering the milk tea? Deep down, Chen Jiang was still determined to get her to hang out. Yesterday, he accidentally read a game guide online. So today, he was eager to go to the internet cafe to show off his skills and conquer the world. Liu Ruyan placed one hand on her thigh, tapping it leisurely. Let me ask you two a question. Who are we? Really? We're human. What else? Could we be something else? Chen Jiang blurted out immediately. Bai Ningbing let out a soft scoff. The two of us are indeed human, but you look just like a silly puppy. Shit. Chen Jiang bared his teeth and glared at his friend. Me? A silly puppy? Then the first person I bite will be you. Just then, the staff brought out the finished drink. The mango pomelo sago was placed neatly on the counter. Liu Ruyan picked up the drink, stood up, and told the other two, go back to class and study. We're students now. A student's main duty is to study hard and keep improving. Right? Do you two understand what I am saying? Hearing those righteous words about studying hard come from Liu Ruyan's mouth made Chen Jiang shudder in horror. That shuddering feeling lasted until he witnessed the scene of Liu Ruyan personally placing the milk tea on my desk. Only then did everything become clear. All his confusion vanished in an instant. He leaned close to Bai Ningbing's ear and whispered, what's all this about students studying hard and improving? All that empty talk. I think Sister Liu has clearly fallen for our school. Heartthrob at first sight. Bai Ningbing mocked her friend without holding back. I told you you were a silly puppy, but you wouldn't believe me. Now you finally realize who you are. Huh. Actually, she had realized it last night. After all, the intelligence of humans and canines are not on the same level. Having his guess confirmed, Chen Jiang clicked his tongue. At this moment, his mind suddenly became crystal clear. No wonder she pushed him into her bedroom the moment she saw him yesterday. So that's why she woke us all up at the crack of dawn today and insisted on coming to school. But since when did our sister Liu have this intention? Could it really be love at first sight? You should be a little less curious about Sister Lia's business. Bai Ningbing reached into her desk and took out her handheld game console. She put on her headphones and started playing intently. Chen Jiang huffed under his breath. The more he was forbidden from asking, the more curious he became. So, he tiptoed closer to Liu Ruyan and said with a sly smile, Sister Liu, can you secretly tell me a little something? You decided to stay in school because of our school heartthrob, right? You've got too much time on your hands. Liu Ruyan replied with a slight raise of her eyebrow. I am just trying to show some concern for your love life. From what you know, it seems you just got a new job offer, and the client needs it done urgently, too. Yet you were willing to give up such a lucrative job to come running to school like this. TSK. The charm of our school heartthrob is really no joke. Liu Ruyan let out a light scoff. Then she beckoned Chen Jiang to come closer. Come here. Come here. Chen Jiang thought she had something to confide in him, so he quickly moved his head closer to her. Liu Ruyan immediately flicked his forehead hard. Oh my god. Chen Jiang let out a painful shriek. He clutched his head, moaning pitifully in pain. You're trying to silence me by murder. This action of yours is clearly an attempt to silence me. Don't you dare go around spreading these words. If a single word of this gets out, don't blame me for being cruel to you. Her eyes looked nonchalant, but they held a sharp, cold warning. Chen Jiang knew very well what she was afraid of. Liu Ruyan was the type to fear no one, and she never cared what others thought of her. However, the school heartthrob had a very calm personality. Moreover, he was very shy and thin-skinned. If any bad rumors were to spread about the two of them, he would surely be scared into a panic. And most importantly, Liu Ruyan truly cared deeply about my feelings, and she cared even more about how others would see me. Therefore, even when she wanted to talk to me, she would carefully choose times when no one was around to approach. After understanding all of Liu Ruyan's hidden thoughts, how could Chen Jiang still have the courage to spread nonsense outside? He hastily shook his head like a bobblehead. Spread what? I am just a silly puppy. Sister, I swear, I don't know anything at all. Seeing this, Bai Ningbing laughed in amusement and held up one finger in front of him, asking, look, what number is this? Haha, I don't know what number it is. Chen Jiang replied wittily, shaking his head. Because I am definitely a silly puppy. His antics made Liu Ruyan laugh out loud. Then she muttered a playful curse under her breath. After that, she slumped back onto her desk to continue sleeping. You're still sleeping, Sister Liu. If you keep sleeping like this, what am I supposed to do all afternoon? Chen Jiang was bored out of his mind. Liu Ruyan didn't even bother to acknowledge his question. In fact, she had just received a rather large job offer not long ago. The client was urging her to finish it for them urgently. According to her original plan, she was going to spend this entire half-month at home focusing on work, and she would only return to school after the work was done. However, someone had once said that he really hoped to see her at this school. She understood clearly that, for someone like her, with no one to rely on, the only and most important goal right now was to work hard to survive. Everything else in this world was ultimately secondary. But whenever my sad and disappointed face appeared in her mind, her chest would suddenly feel unbearably tight and restless. That's why last night she stayed up all night trying to finish her pending work. And somehow, she accidentally stayed awake until the early morning. After 2 consecutive nights without a single wink of sleep, her head now felt heavy and muddled, as if stuffed with glue. She really needed to get some sleep now to make up for the lost hours. Because tonight, she still had to stay up late to finish the rest of her pending work. This afternoon, I came to school a little earlier than usual, and just as expected, as soon as I sat down, I saw a mango pomelo sago already on my desk. I glanced towards the back rows of the classroom. There, Bai Ningbing and Chen Jiang were, each, holding a game console, completely engrossed in that virtual world. As for Liu Ruyan, she was, as usual, slumped over her desk, still sleeping. I don't know if it was because my gaze towards her was too intense and earnest, but Bai Ningbing suddenly looked up at me, and just like that, our eyes accidentally met. I suddenly felt a bit stunned and flustered for a moment. Then, I immediately turned my head away to avoid her gaze. By reflex, I quickly tucked the milk tea deep into my desk drawer. Seeing my action, Bai Ningbing couldn't help but find it extremely amusing. Clearly, there were hardly any people in the classroom at this time, and the truth was, no one was paying any attention to my milk tea. Yet my expression looked just like a thief, afraid of being caught red-handed. It seems Liu Ruyan's worries were not unfounded at all. He really is too tense. Bai Ningbing smirked with a mischievous smile. Then she averted her gaze and returned to her unfinished game. The classroom became completely silent, only the sound of the ceiling fan above slowly turning. The summer breeze seemed to be tinged with the characteristic sweltering heat. After a long while, I seemed to snap out of it and realize something. Hey, wait a minute. Why did I have to secretly hide this milk tea? The milk tea Liu Ruyan bought for me didn't have any ice in it. When I placed my hand on the cup, I could still feel a slight warmth radiating from it. I gently took the milk tea out of the drawer and placed it neatly on my desk. I carefully opened the lid and took a few sips. It wasn't too sweet. Just right, although its flavor couldn't compare to the premium drinks of the future. But for that time, it could be considered an absolutely wonderful drink. It was just a simple mango pomelo, sago, but the feeling and thought contained within it were so full and precious. When Guy Boda came and saw it, he just thought I had bought it for myself, so he didn't pay much attention. After he sat down, he deliberately turned to look at Liu Ruyan in the back row. Although she was still sleeping, she really hadn't skipped class. Thinking of this, the corners of his eyes couldn't help but curve up. Even though Liu Ruyan had intimidated him like that yesterday, in the end, she still took his words to heart. She came to school. This was a good sign. If she was willing to listen to him, it meant she wasn't a completely hopeless case. Gui Boda secretly made up his mind that he had to guide her back to the right path. Having this goal, Go Boda was in high spirits all afternoon. He was even more active in answering questions in class. I was a bit puzzled, not understanding why he had suddenly become so energetic. But thinking about how I had been reborn, changing the course of everything, creating a butterfly effect, it was normal for other things to change as well. Liu Ruyan slept through the whole afternoon again. Chen Jiang and Bai Ningbing next to her neither slept nor caused trouble. They just quietly did their own thing, never disturbing the class order. This semester's schedule had the last period as self-study. The 11th grade curriculum was getting more intense. Just one day after school started, teachers from every subject assigned homework. The cumulative amount of homework was quite substantial. I decided to use the last self-study period to get a head start on my work, only taking home what I couldn't finish. Gu Boda sat on the podium to maintain discipline. With him standing guard, the classroom was very quiet until the inspection team from the student council arrived. The girl in the lead was over 1.7 meters tall, with a delicate and gentle appearance. She had long, narrow phoenix eyes, and a pair of rectangular, frameless glasses rested on the bridge of her nose. The lenses were light gray, making her look somewhat scholarly yet distant. She was Ning Qingyue, the student council president, and also a famous top student. However, every time, she would fall behind Gui Boda by just a few points, earning her the joking nickname of the eternal runner-up. She stood at the classroom door, sweeping her gaze across the entire room. Then she lowered her head and jotted something down in her notebook before leading a group of people away. Seeing this from the podium, Gui Boda immediately tiptoed out after them. "Classmate Ning," he called out in a low voice, then quickened his pace to catch up with them. "I saw you writing something just now. Did our class get points deducted?" Ning Qingyu nodded. Someone wasn't wearing the uniform. There are still many classes behind waiting for inspection. She only said that one sentence, and nothing more, preparing to walk away. Gu Boda was quick-witted and grabbed the hem of her shirt. He said with a smile, "Classmate Ning, let it slide this time. Remind them when I get back. How about that?" Ning Qingyu frowned. Her voice was gentle but impossible to refuse. "Let go." Gui Boda giggled and tightened his grip a little. "Come on. Please, classmate Ning, can you cut me some slack? Just do me this one favor, and go easy on us. Please, okay?" Ning Qingyue let out a cold snort. "Have you ever heard the saying?" Gui Boda thought she was wavering, and the smile on his face widened. "What saying?" Ning Qingyue emotionlessly pushed up her glasses. "When a beautiful person acts cute, it's called being charming. But when someone as ugly as you does it, it's called being obnoxious." Her beautiful phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. "Let go. Stop harassing your classmate." Gu Boda was about to go crazy with anger. That damn Ning Qingyue, and to think their parents knew each other. How could she, in front of so many people, call him ugly and even say he was harassing her? She was so hateful. He was definitely going to tell on her to her parents. Gu Boda angrily returned to the classroom, just in time to see me pick up the milk tea cup, place it under the desk, and sneak a sip. He warned in a cold voice, "No drinking milk tea during class. Otherwise, your conduct points will be deducted." My movement paused. I slowly looked up. Gui Boda didn't even look at me, but just lowered his head and continued with his homework. I gently swallowed the mouthful of milk tea, then calmly continued with my homework. I had finished my math homework. Only chemistry and English were left. English was my strong suit, so I finished it before class ended. I started packing my things, planning to take the unfinished chemistry homework home. Yizhong High School didn't require students to attend evening self-study. Usually, boarding students would have 2 evening self-study sessions, while day students who didn't participate could go home after the afternoon classes ended. Knowing that my math wasn't very good, even though I had finished the homework, I still put the textbook in my bag, planning to review what I learned today, and also prepare for tomorrow's lesson. At this moment, Boda carried his chair back to his seat. He put his books on the desk, didn't bother to pack up, and walked lightly towards the back row of seats. Class had just ended, and many students hadn't left yet. Everyone's eyes unconsciously followed him. When they saw him stop in front of Liu Ruyan, the students who were about to leave also paused. One by one, they craned their necks curiously to watch the drama. That's the school's big sister. What does the class president want with the big sister? Boda could feel the stares coming at him from all directions. He knew everyone was watching him. A strong sense of vanity rose up, making him involuntarily straighten his back. Well, Mr. Class President. When Chen Jiang noticed the noisy classroom suddenly go silent, he looked up doubtfully and saw Boda. He asked, while still playing his game, "What brings you to our neck of the woods? What's up?" Boda glanced at him. "You should play fewer games. If I don't play games, what am I supposed to do? Are you telling me to study?" Chen Jiang spoke with bravado. "If I start studying, the last place seat in class will have to be given to someone else." They wouldn't agree to that. Boda was speechless and rolled his eyes, not bothering to pay attention to his nonsense, and shifted his gaze to the girl sitting by the window. He cleared his throat softly. "Liu Ruyan." Chen Jiang's eyes widened. "Class president, don't call her. Sister Liu hates being called out when she's sleeping. Be careful or she'll throw a fit at you." Boda pretended not to care, but deliberately raised his voice a little. "I called her this morning, too. She wasn't cranky at all." "Huh? You dared to call her this morning?" Chen Jiang couldn't believe it. She really didn't get mad? This reaction made Boda feel very smug. "That's right," he replied, drawing out the last syllable, revealing a fleeting sense of self-satisfaction. Bai Ningbing lazily raised her eyelids. She thought to herself, "That's only because he ran away fast. Let's see what would have happened if he was 2 seconds slower." Chen Jiang was utterly astonished. Since when did Sister Liu become so good-tempered? Boda suddenly felt a bit superior. When he spoke, his tone carried a hint of gentleness. "Oh, Liu Ruyan, don't sleep anymore." Chen Jiang looked like he'd seen a ghost. He didn't even feel like playing his game anymore. He shivered and rubbed his arms. "Mr. Class President, can you please speak normally? Suddenly speaking in that tone sounds so weird. You're scaring me." In those years, Taiwanese idol dramas were extremely popular in the mainland. That whiny, cutesy tone spread everywhere. Even someone like Chen Jiang, who never watched dramas, could casually blurt out a few lines. Boda's face turned beet red. "What did Chen Jiang do to me? Why are you being so mean to me?" Chen Jiang continued his nonsense, making small fists with his hands and rubbing his eyes. "You're so biased." The students still in the classroom who witnessed this scene couldn't help but burst out laughing. The gossipy female students didn't mind making a bigger deal out of it, and one by one, they began to mimic Chen Jiang's gestures. The scene became both chaotic and noisy. Boda glared angrily at Chen Jiang, while Chen Jiang just winked at him. Just then, the girl who was lying on the desk began to slowly move. Her arms were still on the desk, and her head was still down. Her slender, delicate shoulder blades moved first. The sports jacket clearly outlined her spine. Then she lazily turned her neck a little, before lifting her face, an extremely cold face, but so beautiful it was startling. The classroom, which had been bustling with noise just a second ago, suddenly went silent as if someone had hit the mute button. Everything abruptly became quiet. Chen Jiang was very quick-witted. "Sister Liu, you're awake? Our Mr. Class President is looking for you." "Idiot." Liu Ruyan cursed irritably. Her voice, just after waking up, carried a slightly hoarse and languid quality, but it was still extremely pleasant to the ear. Boda felt ecstatic hearing it. He spoke with a bit of concern. "Liu Ruyan, are you awake?" She didn't answer him, but instead took a bottle of mineral water from her desk drawer and just drank it. Boda's expression faltered slightly. He hesitated for a moment, then continued. "During the last self-study period today, when the student council came to inspect, because the 3 of you weren't wearing uniforms, our class got points deducted. Why weren't you wearing your uniform?" Liu Ruyan finished the entire bottle of water in one go, then threw it with a flick of her wrist. The empty bottle, under the watch of many eyes, drew a perfect parabola and landed precisely in the trash can. "Let's go." She lazily stood up and walked out. Chen Jiang and Bai Ningbing immediately followed behind. Boda didn't get a satisfactory answer, but then again, her personality had always been like that. She always appeared cold on the outside, but she actually always took his words to heart. The fact that she came to school today was proof. So he looked at her retreating back and added earnestly, "Oh, Liu Ruyan, since you're willing to come to school now, you should also follow the school rules. Remember to wear your uniform when you come to school tomorrow. Otherwise, it'll really get angry." Liu Ruyan found his constant nagging incredibly annoying, absolutely hateful. "Stop meddling in my business." Boda took a deep breath and said, "I am the class president. If I don't manage you, who will?" Liu Ruyan walked straight out of the classroom just like that. Boda pursed his lips and returned to his seat, hastily packed a few books into his bag, and quickly left as well. The good show was over. Everyone had different expressions on their faces. They exchanged glances and gradually dispersed to go home. This would surely be enough for them to gossip about all night. Songji and I were lucky enough to witness the entire event. The two of us went to the bike shed to get our bikes together. Songji was getting antsy. He didn't care that he was still on school grounds, and constricted his voice to vividly imitate Guibota's mannerisms. Come to school tomorrow. Okay? You absolutely have to wear your uniform. Okay? Or it'll really get angry, you hear. I am the class president, you know. If I don't manage you, who else would bother? He wheeled his bicycle out and pedaled to catch up with me. I bet you. The class president definitely likes the big sister. Teenagers at this age, their feelings are like poetry. Some keep them carefully hidden in their hearts, some flaunt them for the world to see, and some say one thing but mean another. I just hummed softly. That's his own business. I know. It's just that his attitude really annoys me. He's always criticizing Liu Ruyan for being useless, yet he keeps trying to get close to her. It's hilarious when you think about it. He just loves being pretentious like that. Song Ji snorted contemptuously. If you like someone, just admit it. Why do you have to put them down like that? Is liking Liu Ruyan something to be ashamed of? I spoke up. It's not. Exactly. Just admit it openly. And honestly, I might even respect him as a real man then. Song Jie said this, then suddenly chuckled. But the way the big sister treated him today, it was just so satisfying. Ha ha ha. Stop meddling in your classmates' business, okay? She looked so cool. I absolutely love that vibe. It's that arrogant and domineering style. It really is very cool. The teenage Liu Ruyan was indeed incredibly captivating. After leaving the school gate, because our houses were in opposite directions, we had to say goodbye. I was riding alone for a while, when I saw a figure not far ahead, and my eyes lit up. I pedaled faster to catch up. Hey, Wang Qian. I caught up with her, and we rode side by side. Wang Qian felt quite surprised. Seeing my chest still heaving slightly as I caught my breath, she instinctively slowed down her bike a little. Is something wrong? Xiaofan. I smiled slightly. I wanted to ask, the math reference book you showed me this morning, where can I buy it? During recess today, I saw on Wang Qian's desk a detailed math problem-solving textbook, so I borrowed it for a quick look. I found that the concepts in it were explained very meticulously, and the examples were very representative. It was truly a very useful resource for me. My math was already a bit weak, so I needed to put in even more effort. I plan to go find and buy a similar book this weekend. Wang Qian told me, this book is really good. My neighbor is a high school math teacher, and he was the one who recommended this book to me. You really can't find it in regular bookstores. I had to go all the way to the Xinhua bookstore to find it. All right, I got it. Wang Qian looked at my face, thought for a moment, and then asked another question. Do you know where the Xinhua bookstore is? If you don't, then whenever you plan to go buy it, just call me to go with you. I'll take you there. I answered honestly. I know where it is. Thanks a lot. The two of them said nothing more, just quietly riding their bikes next to each other. Not far behind, Liu Ruyan was also riding a bicycle, leisurely following behind me. Today, she wasn't riding her large displacement motorcycle. She still had 2 more months before she turned of age. She only dared to ride the motorcycle at night when there were no traffic police. If she rode it during the day, she'd be caught immediately. Oh ho! Chen Jiang suddenly let out a cry of surprise. Isn't that our school's heartthrob? Who's that girl next to him? Is she from our class? Today, when he came to school, he either slept or buried his face in his game. As for what his classmates looked like, he didn't bother to care. And Bai Ningbing wasn't much better. She just squinted for a while, finding her familiar but unable to remember her name. Whoever she is, why do I feel so annoyed seeing her next to the heartthrob? It just gets on my nerves. Chen Jiang gritted his teeth in annoyance. Just then, the two people in front said something, and suddenly burst into happy laughter together. He blurted out a curse. What an eyesore. Could they be dating? Probably not. Bai Ningbing intentionally or unintentionally glanced at Liu Ruyan. The heartthrob seems very obedient and gentle. He probably wouldn't start dating so early. Why not? Look. They're even wearing matching outfits, Chen Jiang asserted with absolute certainty. Bai Ningbing was so annoyed, she laughed. Hey, Chen Jiang, you should really get your head checked. What do you mean matching outfits? That's our school uniform, you idiot. Chen Jiang paused for a moment, also feeling that what he had just said was rather stupid, so he couldn't help but chuckle. It really is the school uniform. No wonder I felt like something was a bit off. Bai Ningbing looked utterly disgusted. Don't say you know me when you're out. Chen Jiang just continued to laugh cheerfully, seeing Liu Ruyan's gaze as if it was about to be fixed firmly on Chen Fan. He decisively said, Sister Liu, just leave it to me. I'll ride my bike straight between them right now. To split those lovebirds up, you guys should just go home. Liu Ruyan spoke up to stop him. What about you, Sister Liu? Chen Jiang asked knowingly. Liu Ruyan didn't bother to answer. The one who spoke up was Bai Ningbing. What else could she be doing? Going to wag her tail at him. Of course. The two of them looked at each other and shared a meaningful smile, watching Liu Ruyan's figure as she started to pedal faster, gliding right up behind the other two. Someone suddenly loomed close. Wang Qian caught a glimpse from the corner of her eye, and when she turned her head, she realized it was Liu Ruyan. She forced a smile and greeted her. Hi, sister. Liu Ruyan just lazily raised her eyelids a little. You live this way too? Wang Qihan replied with a surprised yes, although she found the question a bit strange and confusing. But she always adhered to the principle of being united and friendly with classmates, so she still answered politely, yes. So how much longer until you get home? Liu Ruyan asked again. I can't believe she's concerned about me. The corner of Wang Qihan's mouth twitched in confusion. Just at the intersection up ahead. All right. After she said that, she suddenly accelerated and sped past them, overtaking them just like that. I watched the carefree figure of the young girl, and my eyes suddenly filled with a warm smile. Wang Qihan muttered softly beside me, Sister Liu, why? Why did she suddenly ask me those things? The corners of my lips lifted into a slight smile. Maybe she's just concerned about you. Wang Qihan was so scared she trembled all over, and quickly racked her brain to review all the events of the day. Then she said hesitantly, uncertainly, I didn't do anything to offend her, did I? I really can't remember where I might have offended her. To suddenly be cared for by the big sister like this is truly a terrifying and goosebump-inducing thing. Do you understand? Could it be when Teacher Wang told me to close the classroom door earlier? I saw her but forgot to say hello? Wang Qihan was still racking her brain, trying to figure out what mistake she had made. The more she thought about it, the more she felt it was very likely to have happened, making her feel extremely regretful. Oh my god, why didn't I know to greet her then? I hesitated for a moment, then spoke slowly. I don't think Liu Ruyan is actually that scary. She probably just wanted to ask you something. No way. There's absolutely no way that's it. Wang Qihan shook her head repeatedly. I must have offended Sister Liu somehow. Wang Qihan was worried and scared. For the rest of the way, she was completely out of it. At the three-way intersection, I waved goodbye to her, but she didn't seem to hear anything. The reputation of the Thorn Princess in the school circle was indeed not just a rumor. Just look at this incredible, intimidating power. As I was thinking, I pedaled my bike around a bend, and then I saw the person I was just thinking about. The Thorn Princess was sitting casually on her bike, her right foot propped on the ground. Her deep, dark eyes were fixed on me. The corner of my lips involuntarily curved up, but I pretended to be calm and continued pedaling. As I passed by Liu Ruyan, I didn't stop either. The young girl let out a soft laugh. The laughter melted into the evening breeze, making my ears turn red. She leisurely pedaled behind me, then gradually rode alongside me. The willow trees by Yaming Lake were like a young girl's hand, gently swaying. The water's surface rippled gently. The sunset dyed the lake's surface with brilliant golden scales. The evening breeze blew softly. The entire lake rustled with the sound of water. Liu Ruyan was waiting for me to speak first. Unexpectedly, she said nothing. I could also remain completely silent. She couldn't help but turn to look at me and called my name. Chen Fan. I tilted my head to look back. I thought you were going to stay silent forever. Her speaking pace was slow, like a piece of poison-coated candy. Even knowing the result would be death, he would still smile and swallow it. Liu Ruyan's light-colored eyes narrowed. What did you say to her? Who? I played dumb. She shot me a sideways glance. That girl from earlier. I don't know her name. What did you two talk about? I was speechless. The hint of petulance in her voice made it even more alluring. Her name is Wang Qihan. You don't even know her name. So why did you scare her? When did I scare her? Liu Ruyan feigned innocence. I told Liu Ruyan about how Wang Qihan kept rambling on in fear. She was scared to death, thinking she had offended you. So what did you two talk about? She doesn't want to get involved with anyone else, especially not girls. It's not like she's interested in that girl. I looked at her helplessly. We've barely said a few sentences, and she's already asked this question 3 times. The girl's eyes were full of determination, looking like she wouldn't give up until she got an answer. I told her about my plan to go to Xinhua bookstore this weekend. Finally got some useful information. Liu Ruyan raised an eyebrow slightly. I didn't forget that. This was also to help Liu Ruyan study properly. In my heart, I felt a slight stir. I took the chance to ask her, so, will you go with me that day? Are you asking me out? She raised her eyebrows playfully and said in a nonchalant tone, well, see. Liu Ruyan's house and mine weren't in the same direction. She, just like yesterday, took me to the next street before cycling away. The sky, at past 7 p.m. wasn't completely dark yet. She rode a few steps and then stopped, turning her head to look at me. At that very moment, I seemed to sense something, and suddenly turned my head back. Our eyes met. Liu Ruyan's face suddenly flushed. Even though we were quite far apart, it seemed she could still hear the young man's laughter in her ears. She pursed her lips. This time, she didn't look back again, and pedaled away quickly. Ever since her mother passed away, Liu Ruyan rarely cooked for herself. Only when there's someone you want to take care of does cooking become romantic. She was all alone. Cooking was just for survival. Buying food outside was the same. It was just to fill her stomach. After finishing her meal downstairs, she prepared to go back to work. In the year 2009, Apple phones officially entered the domestic market. The iPhone 3GS was released in June. Some sharp domestic manufacturers had already sniffed out the opportunity and secretly started developing smartphones and had achieved some initial results. Domestic people have always been the best in the world at imitation. Moreover, they could continuously improve during the process, creating better products. Liu Ruyan had a feeling that the smartphone boom would be an inevitable trend of the future. So right after the first generation of smartphones was born, she started learning mobile app programming and has achieved some success so far. After all, this wasn't difficult for her. During the years of the explosive growth of the internet, network management was still not strict. Online gambling and pornography were rampant. The smartphone field was an even more empty land, a completely untouched territory. There's a saying, first come, first served. It was in its golden age. Now, any app could make money, especially the not-so-proper ones. Last time, she helped a boss make a gray area app. This job was also introduced by that boss. His friend was planning to make a mobile gambling app. The price offered was extremely high, and the requirements were also strict. The deadline was very tight. The other party had already paid the deposit. They had been urging her for progress these past few days. She had to hurry up. Liu Ruyan parked her bike downstairs, mentally calculating tonight's work. She thought absent-mindedly as she went upstairs. The house she lived in was bought many years ago. Back then, housing prices weren't as expensive as they are now. Her father hadn't lost his job yet, and hadn't gotten into gambling either. Thinking back now, she was startled to realize that the time her father wasn't gambling was already 11 years ago. So much time had passed that she felt her memories had faded. The house was quite old. The sound-activated lights in the hallway were sometimes very slow to react. You had to shout your lungs out for them to turn on. That cold, firefly-like light made everyone look like a ghost. Liu Ruyan wasn't afraid of the dark. She was also too lazy to make a sound, so she just walked silently. Her apartment was on the 4th floor. After walking for a while, out of habit, she looked up and suddenly saw an anxious face right in front of her. The man was looking down. When he saw her coming, he looked up and gave a bright smile. He had put a lot of effort into grooming himself and came to her house to wait for a whole afternoon. Chen Yu was suddenly mistaken for a male ghost. His expression turned a little ugly. He let out a soft cough. The hallway light above slowly turned on. He smiled and said with a slightly reproachful tone, "What male ghost?" "Ruyan, it's me. Is something wrong with you? Squatting in front of my door pretending to be a ghost?" Liu Ruyan snapped irritably. She was already annoyed about having to work, and then he had to go and scare her, making her forget the idea that had just popped into her head. Chen Yu quickly explained, "I didn't mean to scare you." "Didn't I say I'd come find you to hang out today? But when I came this afternoon, I found that you weren't home. Where did you go?" "To school." Of course. Chen Yu was stunned. It wasn't that he looked down on her, but speaking honestly, for someone like her to go to school, she probably wouldn't understand anything, right? He took a few steps closer, looking down from above. Liu Ruyan was standing 3 steps below him. "What's so fun about school? Let's go to the bar later. A sworn sister of mine is opening a bar and invited me over. Come with me. Please. I am not free." "Then let's go tomorrow. Her bar is having a big promotion these days," she said. "If I go over, all the drinks will be free, and she'll give us 2 large fruit platters too." "I am not free tomorrow either. So when will you be free?" Liu Ruyan fell silent. Her tongue flicked lightly over her teeth. She had never found these boys so annoying before. The image of that well-behaved boy suddenly appeared in her mind. He made her calmer, made her yearn for stability. Liu Ruyan didn't want to continue this game anymore. She licked her lips and said coldly, "I am never free." Chen Yu also realized the hidden meaning in her words. His voice suddenly turned harsh. "What do you mean?" Liu Ruyan looked up. The light from the old, dirty incandescent bulb shone deep into her eyes. Her gaze flickered between light and dark, hazy and clear. "I don't mean anything. Lin Yan, let's break up." Chen Yu's expression immediately became darker than the night. He said through gritted teeth, "Liu Ruyan, you're such a bitch." Lin Yan was the name of her ex-boyfriend. A hint of awkwardness flashed in Liu Ruyan's eyes. She tilted her head slightly, thought for a moment, then spoke again. "Wang Hao, let's break up." Chen Yu couldn't take it anymore. He was so angry his whole body trembled. "Damn it. I am not Wang Hao either." Wang Hao was also the name of another ex-boyfriend. "Then what's your name?" Liu Ruyan wondered. She paused for a moment, then continued nonchalantly. "Never mind. Whatever your name is, we're breaking up anyway." Chen Yu was stunned into silence. For the first time in his life, his mind was completely blank. Even his emotions became numb. He thought he was bad enough. But after meeting Liu Ruyan, he realized his badness was nothing compared to hers. He had been dating her for almost a week, yet she couldn't even remember his name. "You bastard. How can you be so cruel?" Chen Yu roared angrily. "Why? Even if you want to break up, I still need a proper reason." Liu Ruyan retorted. "So what kind of reason can you accept?" Chen Yu was choked up and couldn't speak. "So you're too lazy to even think of a reason to break up? You knew and you still asked." Liu Ruyan gave a faint smile. She walked up the stairs, step by step. As she passed him, Chen Yu suddenly asked, "Is it because of that kid? The one you pushed into the bedroom yesterday? Is it because of him?" Seeing her steps falter slightly, he knew he had guessed right. He continued to press her relentlessly. "You two have known each other for a long time, right? What happened yesterday after I left? I knew it. I knew it. I could tell from his face he's a pretty boy. Daring to steal my girlfriend? I won't let him get away with it." After making his threat, he stomped angrily down the stairs. "Hey!" Liu Ruyan called out to him from behind. Her voice lowered. "Don't you dare go looking for him. I dare you to touch him." Chen Yu had always known that. Liu Ruyan was not like other girls her age. On her, there was a faint aura of extreme ruthlessness. But normally she looked very relaxed. That created a very special aura that was very attractive to others. So even knowing she was very cruel, the number of boyfriends she had was like mushrooms after the rain. There were still many who willingly became toys in her hands. What if? What if I could tame this she-panther? He always wished that panther would turn back for him, but at the same time, he was prepared to be mercilessly dumped by her and was ready to be played by her. But that panther was absolutely not allowed to love someone else, not allowed to change for another man. Why is it that what he couldn't have, someone else could get so easily? Chen Yu's jealousy, upon seeing Liu Ruyan protect Chen Fan like that, reached its peak. He saw her serious expression, her anxious tone. A feeling of painful and jealous pleasure suddenly rose in his heart. So what if I touch him? We've already broken up. Ruyan, why should I listen to you? I want to see what kind of backing he has to dare to confront me. The two stood a few steps apart. He was below. She was above, looking down on him arrogantly. The staircase light suddenly went out, due to the terrifying silence between them. Liu Ruyan's laughter rang out first, followed by her nonchalant and slightly sarcastic words. If you dare touch him, I will make you regret being born into this world. The girl's voice was clearly very pleasant, but to him right now, it felt like a cold snake was coiling around his neck, incredibly cold and suffocating. Are you threatening me? He couldn't help but shudder. Her voice seemed to become even gentler. I've said it. If you don't believe me, just try. Click. After speaking, she opened the door and stepped inside. The door quickly closed, leaving Chen Yu alone in the stairwell. Honestly, he was somewhat afraid of Liu Ruyan. She was always alone, always looking nonchalant and careless. But when she fought, she was extremely ruthless, always carrying an air of recklessness, a madness that disregarded consequences. Even the gangsters he hung out with were all afraid whenever they heard Liu Ruyan's name, thinking of her threat and her worry and protection for that kid. Chen Yu was both jealous and angry. He felt extremely heartbroken. He had to go find his sworn sister to complain. Half an hour later, Chen Yu was at Tonight Bar. It was indeed the grand opening promotion period. The bar had done a good job with publicity beforehand, so the opening day was packed with people, extremely lively. The security guards at the door saw Chen Yu, knew he was one of Sister Zhuo's people, so they specially had someone lead him inside. Chen Yu was taken to a VIP table. The people around saw him and greeted him enthusiastically. Little brother Chen Yu is here to find Sister Zhuo? Oh my, why are your eyes so red? Who dared to bully our little brother? Chen Yu had cried all the way here. The more he thought about Liu Ruyan, the more heartbroken he became. She was the girl he liked the most, among all his ex-girlfriends, and the one he put the most effort and initiative into. Yet this was the result he got. He couldn't accept it. Where's my sister? As soon as he spoke, his voice choked up as if he was about to cry. It's the grand opening today. She must be very busy. Right? Sigh. I heard Sister Zhuo went to pick up brother-in-law. Brother-in-law? Chen Yu was stunned. This rich, second-generation girl named Zhuo Qiao is the daughter of the city's richest man. Lately, she seemed to be quite interested in him, but he heard rumors that she played around in a rather kinky way, so he kept hesitating, only daring to accept her as a sworn sister. Unexpectedly, just like that, she already had a new boyfriend. The people sitting around here were all Zhuo Qiao's trusted followers. How could they not see through Chen Yu's petty calculations? Seeing his stunned and disappointed expression, someone deliberately spoke up. That's right, our new brother-in-law, let me tell you. This time, brother-in-law is so handsome that Zhuo Qiao slapped him from behind, then said with a cold laugh, you dare to gossip about your brother-in-law? Whoa, Sister Zhuo. Hello? Brother-in-law. Zhuo Qiao's appearance caused everyone at the VIP table to stand up respectfully and greet her. Chen Yu sniffled and stood up as well, looking at Zhuo Qiao. Sister. Zhuo Qiao hummed in acknowledgement, then pulled the man next to her into her arms. This is your brother-in-law. Go say hello. Chen Yu observed the man. He had an elegant temperament, a handsome and intellectual face. Zhuo Qiao's taste really changes on a whim. She likes all sorts of types. Hello, brother-in-law. He greeted him nonchalantly. Zhuo Qiao smirked. All right then, everyone sit down. Since you're here, just have fun. She was indeed a little interested in Chen Yu, but Chen Yu kept being ambiguous. She wasn't a fool either. When playing with men, she only liked it to be consensual. If the other party wasn't interested, then with her status, of course she wouldn't resort to forcing someone, and she would never be faithful to him. But for those she hadn't gotten yet, there was no need to cut ties. She sat down next to Chen Yu. On her other side was her new boyfriend. Everyone was busy playing dice and drinking. When the new boyfriend went to the restroom, she turned to ask Chen Yu, what do you think? Your brother-in-law looks very scholarly, right? So you're into the scholarly type lately? Chen Yu's eyes darted back and forth. He started to get an idea. He was originally worried about Liu Ruyan's warning. He really didn't dare touch the person she was protecting on his own. But Zhuo Qiao was different. She had both status and money. Even if she touched that kid, Liu Ruyan couldn't do anything to her. Zhuo Qiao hummed in agreement. He looks just like a little puppy. Very cute and obedient. Chen Yu eagerly continued. Brother-in-law does look very scholarly, but I've seen someone who is much more handsome and elegant. That's what you call real innocence. The important thing is that within that innocence, there's a hint of wildness. In short, he's extremely captivating, incredibly handsome. Is that so? There's someone like that in H City? Zhuo Qiao leaned closer to him. Even more handsome than you? Actually, Chen Yu was already very good looking. So even though he was just an uneducated hooligan, a young lady like Zhuo Qiao was willing to play with him. Of course, he's 10 times more handsome than me, Chen Yu deliberately emphasized. Zhuo Qiao showed her disbelief. Right now, her mind was completely on her new boyfriend, so she just replied perfunctorily, "All right, someday, when I break up with your brother-in-law, if there's a chance, bring him over for me to see." Chen Jiang had been going to school for over 10 years. He swore that today was definitely the earliest he had ever come to school. Last night, he and Bai Ningbing pulled an all-nighter at the internet cafe. The game guides they found online were really amazing. He went from being a newbie who got beaten up by others, becoming a big shot who specializes in kicking others' butts. He was fired up the entire night, dominating the virtual world. It goes without saying how awesome it felt. According to his usual routine, after leaving the internet cafe, he'd usually go straight home to catch up on sleep. But even though he was sleepy, his gossipy soul was still burning with curiosity, because he was incredibly curious about what happened yesterday. What would happen next between Liu Ruyan and me? He and Bai Ningbing unanimously decided to change their sleeping spot from home to the school. At 6 inches the morning, the two of them, each with a sleepy look on their face, sluggishly walked to the classroom. The classroom was still locked. The two of them climbed in through the window. Just as they were about to slump onto their desks, there was another noise by the window. Chen Jiang doubtfully lifted his face from his arms, forcing his eyelids open to see. He saw the newcomers' movements were incredibly swift. They climbed onto the windowsill and jumped inside. Their long legs landed on the ground. Everything was perfectly smooth. Whoa, not bad. This cool aura is almost on par with his own. Chen Jiang started to get interested. His gaze slowly moved up. When he saw that cold, world-weary face, he was so startled that his sleepiness vanished completely. He shot straight up. Holy cow, Sis Liu. What in the world are you wearing? The atmosphere during this morning's self-study in Class 7 was very strange. Many people seemed to be reading, but their minds were somewhere else entirely. Every now and then, a student would pretend to casually turn their head, glancing towards the last row of seats. The person sitting in the corner was the school overlord, Liu Ruyan. But today, the overlord was wearing the school uniform. What in the world was going on? Yesterday afternoon, when school let out, the scene between Guba Da and Liu Ruyan, almost the entire class had witnessed it. They had secretly treated Gubada's sarcastic remarks as a joke, happily gossiping about it all night. But as a result, they came to school today to see Liu Ruyan obediently wearing the school uniform. That slap in the face came so quickly and stung so much. What on earth did Liu Ruyan mean by this? No one could understand it. It was even harder to believe. Every few moments, people would glance at Liu Ruyan and then at Guibada. Their expressions were a mix of confusion and sly suggestion. Although Guibada was reading a book, he didn't miss the gazes directed his way. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl into a smirk. He just knew that Liu Ruyan was only harsh with him on the surface. In reality, she was very obedient to him. Coming to school was one thing, and wearing the uniform was another. Her coldness and aggression were all just an act. Her gentleness was reserved for someone willing to accept and embrace her. To be honest, he hadn't really expected Liu Ruyan to be this cooperative. Guibada was lost in his own sweet thoughts when two annoying sounds suddenly reached his ears. Annoyed, he looked up to find the source of the noise. He saw Song Ji up ahead, taking advantage of the moment, while the teacher was talking in the hallway, to signal me. I glanced out the window, mouthing "What's up?" To him. A paper ball whizzed over to my desk. I was afraid the homeroom teacher would see it, so I quickly grabbed the paper ball in my palm. Guy Bada reminded in a cold voice, "No passing notes during self-study." Because of my relationship with Song Ji, the relationship between Go Wai Ba Da and me has been very tense lately. I didn't want to get into another conflict with him, so I didn't answer. But I didn't read the note right away either. I always followed the rules during self-study. I waited until class was over to open it. The 4 big words, "I can't accept it," along with a long string of exclamation marks, were enough to prove how agitated Song Ji was. "Xiao Fan." Song Ji called out to me from the front. "Let's go. Let's go. Time for a bathroom break." Okay. I stuffed the note into my uniform pocket, grabbed some tissues, and walked out. Song Jie was waiting at the classroom door. As soon as I got there, he slung his arm around my shoulders and quickly pulled me away. It wasn't until we were a good distance away that he gritted his teeth and let out a string of curses. Damn it all to hell." Seeing his face filled with rage, I asked in confusion, "What's wrong? You don't know?" Song Jie's eyes widened. "Didn't you see that today? Liu Ruyan is wearing the school uniform." The school overlord, with that unique personality, I remember, didn't give a damn what a school uniform was. And today, she actually came to school obediently wearing it. Isn't that shocking enough? Isn't that earth-shattering enough? "I saw it," I said slowly. These days, whenever I enter the classroom, I instinctively look over to Liu Ruyan's seat. As soon as I got to class today, I saw she was wearing the uniform. It was pretty surprising, I admit. Exactly. That's why Yim's so pissed off. Song Jai's cheeks puffed out in anger. The class president told her to wear it just yesterday, and today she's wearing it. Since when did she become so obedient? All our gossip groups are buzzing with rumors that Liu Ruyan is interested in the class president. Song Ji had started a gossip group back in middle school. The group was full of students from different schools. Normally, everyone would chat and make friends in the group, sharing news from their respective schools with each other. Hearing this, I couldn't help but ask, Liu Ruyan and the class president? That's right. This was what truly infuriated Song Jie. He shook my arm in frustration. No. This can't be happening. I can't accept it. Liu Ruyan can, like anyone, even if she likes a girl, likes a dog, or even likes a paramecium, I can accept all of that. But why would she like the class president? My image of her is completely shattered. I am going to lose my mind. I pursed my lips. I don't think there's anything between her and the class president. I still remembered the look in her eyes when she looked at me. The heat in them felt like it could burn me. Then why is she so obedient to the class president? Song Ji couldn't figure it out. Finally, he said, hopefully. Anyway, if she does have feelings for the class president, too ill just declare that. I was blind and completely misjudged her. I swear ill, never be her fan again. On the way back from the bathroom, a large crowd was gathered around Gui Bada. As I sat down, I happened to overhear someone asking Gui Bada in a suggestive tone, "Hey, class president, spill the beans. What's the deal with you and Liu Ruyan?" The entire crowd turned their eyes to him. Gui Bada covered his face with his hands. "Hey, don't talk nonsense, everyone. Liu Ruyan and I just have a pure classmate relationship. You're all overthinking it." "What do you mean, pure?" "Liu Ruyan is completely fearless. She doesn't even listen to the school disciplinarian. But you just said something, and she put on the uniform right away. How can that be just a classmate relationship? Come on, class president, tell us. Liu Ruyan is pursuing you, right?" Guy Bada's face turned beet red. "No, that's not it. Student Liu Ruyan listens to me out of respect for my position as class president. Please stop spreading baseless rumors." As he spoke, he turned his head to glance at Liu Ruyan. The girl in the uniform was still asleep, slumped over her desk. Regarding all of this, she was completely unaware. The people around them clicked their tongues meaningfully. Gui Bada let out a sigh. He deliberately put on a serious face and said, "It's true. Please stop spreading rumors. If she wakes up and finds out, if she gets angry, I am not taking responsibility. If you can't handle her, who can? You're the only one in our class who can manage her now. We'd love to manage her, but she only listens to you. Our great class president." Gui Bada didn't deny it. He just waved his hand to shoo everyone away. "Go on. Go on. Class is about to start. What are you still gathered here for? Everyone, get back to your seats." The bell rang right on cue. The first period was the homeroom teacher's English class. Everyone then burst into laughter and dispersed. The smile on Gui Bada's face hadn't faded. He pulled out his English book. When he looked out the window, he inadvertently glanced at my handsome face. For the first time, a sense of superiority bloomed in his heart. What's the use of being handsome? In the end, Liu Ruyan still listens to him, precisely because of Gui Bada's vague attitude, coupled with the fact that Liu Ruyan was actually wearing the uniform. The rumor about Liu Ruyan pursuing Gui Bada spread like wildfire. From 1 person to 10, and 10 to 100. Only 2 periods had passed in the morning, but the entire 11th grade already knew about it. During the break, it was time for exercises in the schoolyard. Liu Ruyan and Chen Jiang were still sleeping. Yu Shang didn't dare to call these big shots, so he specifically went to ask Gui Bada for help. "Class president, I heard the disciplinarian is going to check on the exercises today. Could you go wake them up for me?" Gui Bada pretended not to know and asked, "Why don't you go call them? You're the sports representative." After all, Yu Shang forced a laugh. "If I call them, they might not listen." "It's the same for me," Gui Bada said with a smile. "But since you've asked me, I'll give it a try. But I can't guarantee whether they'll listen or not." Yu Shang flattered him. "If you speak up, they'll definitely listen." Gui Bada's sense of vanity was satisfied. He was about to stand up and walk over, when Liu Ruyan, who had been slumped over her desk, suddenly pushed herself upright. She kicked Chen Jiang's leg, and then patted Bai Bing. "Let's go to the bathroom." Liu Ruyan, Gui Bada called out to her from a few steps away. The whole class suddenly fell silent. He continued, "There's an inspection for the exercises today. Can you guys not skip it again?" Song Ji couldn't stand Gui Bada's pretentious attitude. So, as soon as he finished speaking, he deliberately called out loudly, "Hey, Xiao Fan, hurry up. Let's go do the exercises. I am coming. Wait for me a bit." Liu Ruyan slightly raised her eyes. Not far ahead, the boy stood up from his seat and walked towards the classroom door. She saw the uniform on me, then looked down at her own. For the first time, she found this uniform pleasing to the eye. Gui Bada didn't get a response from Liu Ruyan, but he didn't mind. He assumed she was just pretending to be cool. She would surely go do the exercises obediently in a little while. So, after informing them, he left the classroom with a few other friends. Chen Jiang was now fully awake. Seeing Liu Ruyan in the uniform again, he still found it a bit hard to process. "Sis Liu, you look really scary in this outfit." "I think it looks great." Liu Ruyan shot him a glare. "Are you going to the bathroom or not?" "Of course. Actually, I've been holding it since the first period. But I was dreaming that I was at the top of the game rankings, so I didn't want to wake up at all. So I just kept on sleeping." Chen Jiang chuckled and stood up. The moment he moved slightly, his expression suddenly became tense and serious. "Oh no, let's go. Quick. My bladder is about to explode." Liu Ruyan cautiously backed away a little. "Don't you dare explode on me. I just changed my clothes." Chen Jiang looked clearly disappointed. So the first thing you think about isn't your brother's bladder, but this shabby uniform. What else? Liu Ruyan continued to stab him in the heart. Chen Jiang sighed dramatically. I am so tired. My heart is broken. Sis, is there no love left between us? Get lost. Liu Ruyan was disgusted by him. She snapped, stop your whining. Hurry up. Go to the bathroom. Then go do the exercises. Bai Ningbing frowned. Exercises? It's so hot outside. I don't want to go at all. Yeah, this school is so lame. Chen Jiang chimed in. But then, he felt something was off. Huh, wait a minute. He staggered after her, leaning in close to scrutinize Liu Ruyan's face. Liu Ruyan shot him a withering glare, then pushed his head away. Why are you so close? Don't make me beat you up, right? Chen Jiang frowned. His eyes scanned her up and down like an x-ray. Sis Liu, you're not normal at all. What's been up with you lately? First you're coming to school on time. Then you're even wearing the uniform. Now you're even demanding to do exercises. Why are you listening to the class president like this? Could it be that you, towards the class president? As he said this, even he found it ridiculous. No way. And what about the school heartthrob? Sis Liu, between the class president and the school heartthrob, who do you choose? What does it have to do with that class president? Liu Ruyan was completely baffled. He told you to come to school, and you came. He told you to wear the uniform, and you wore it. He told you to do exercises, and you were about to go. You tell me if it's related or not. Chen Jiang raised an eyebrow at her. You listen to him that much. I am even starting to suspect you like him. Although Guiba Da can't compare to Chen Fan in looks, he's not ugly, especially since he's also a great student. Among the bookworms, he's definitely considered elite. Liu Ruyan cursed under her breath. None of that had a damn thing to do with her. She came to school because Chen Fan wanted her to. She wore the uniform because she wanted to wear matching outfits with Chen Fan. She was going to do the exercises simply because she wanted to see Chen Fan right now. How did she end up being misunderstood as liking that damn class president? Chen Jiang let out an "oh." His eyes darted back and forth. So it seems you like the school heartthrob after all. Liu Ruyan admitted it, and then warned him. So from now on, stop with your pointless misunderstandings. Whether he misunderstands or not isn't important. Bai Ningbing spoke up, not forgetting to take a jab at Chen Jiang. This guy is just a dumb dog. What's important is whether the school heartthrob misunderstands. Liu Ruyan's expression suddenly turned grave. That sentence had really hit the mark. The three of them walked into the bathroom together. Soon after, more footsteps were heard, accompanied by chatter. No way. Is that for real? The great Liu Ruyan is turning over a new leaf. For love. She wants to work hard and improve. Liu Ruyan, who was in a stall, heard her name. Her eyebrows raised slightly, but she didn't say anything. It's true. Someone from class 7 said she came to school, and she's even wearing the uniform. Basically, she listens to whatever their class president says. It's unbelievably obedient. Looks like Liu Ruyan is serious this time. Who's the class president of class 7? Is it that handsome bookworm? That's him. He's pretty good looking, and he's a great student. It's only natural that Liu Ruyan would fall for him. Liu Ruyan finally couldn't hold back anymore and spoke up. I am truly impressed. Since when was my taste this bad? Instantly, the entire bathroom fell so silent you could hear a pin drop. She pulled up her pants, then kicked the stall door open with one foot. After coldly washing her hands, she stormed out. Chen Jiang scurried after her, asking in a provocative tone, Sis Liu, are we not doing the exercises anymore? Exercises? My ass. She was in utter turmoil. Now everyone outside is rumoring that I like the class president. He must have heard it too. Right? Will he misunderstand? During the exercises, Guiba Da was completely distracted. He kept turning his head to look back, but he still couldn't see any sign of Liu Ruyan's group. His expression couldn't help but turn ugly. What the hell is wrong with Liu Ruyan? Wasn't she very obedient to him? How dare she actually not show up? Guiba Da's face fell. As soon as the exercises were over, he strode straight back to class. Song Ji watched from behind, then rubbed his chin and said to me, this time, Liu Ruyan didn't listen to him. Could it be that they're not actually what I thought? I answered slowly. There probably was nothing between them in the first place, but Liu Ruyan really did come to school, and she wore the uniform too. Song Ji was still pondering. I thought for a moment, it might be a bit narcissistic of me, but I feel that her coming to school probably has something to do with me. As for wearing the uniform, I have no idea. The two of them returned to the classroom together. Almost everyone in the class was already there. I glanced towards where Liu Ruyan, Chen Jiang, Bai Ningbing, and the others sat, but they hadn't arrived yet. I dutifully sat back in my seat. Suddenly, I felt a low-pressure atmosphere descend. Guiba Da next to me was reading with his head down. However, on the back of the hand holding his pen, the veins were all bulging. I cautiously took out my chemistry book. Just then, the sound of sluggish footsteps approached, accompanied by Chen Jiang's boisterous laughter. Everyone in the class tensed up to the highest degree, their eyes simultaneously turning to the classroom door. The three of them had just reached the door when the bell for class rang. Chen Jiang and Bai Ningbing headed for the back row, while Liu Ruyan walked straight to the podium. The students in the class who saw this watched in silence. The chemistry teacher had just entered the classroom. Seeing someone had taken his spot, he couldn't help but frown slightly. Liu Ruyan, it's time for class. Please return to your seat. Liu Ruyan turned her head, a defiant smile on her face. I am sorry, teacher. Please give me just 2 minutes. There's something I have to clarify right now. If other people misunderstood her, she couldn't care less. But just the thought of him misunderstanding her, even for just a second, was something she couldn't bear. After speaking, she once again turned to face the class. As she lowered her gaze, she met my own dark eyes, which were looking at her with curiosity. Liu Ruyan's throat suddenly felt inexplicably itchy. She hurriedly averted her gaze, then cleared her throat and got to the point. I heard a rumor that I liked the class president. I'd like to take this opportunity to clarify something. I have zero interest in him. Not in the past, not now, and definitely never in the future. Anyone who dares to spread rumors again, if I hear about it, I won't mind having a nice, long chat with you. Did everyone hear that loud and clear? Her words commanded more obedience than even the homeroom teachers. As soon as the question was asked, everyone below was seen nodding their heads vigorously, especially her boy, nodding his head slowly, looking like an adorable little puppy, a gentle smile still lingering on the corners of his lips. Liu Ruyan felt her head flush from being stared at, as if possessed. She continued, as for me coming to school in a uniform, it's true that it's for someone. This sentence was like a bolt from the blue, causing the whole class to erupt in excitement. The school overlord is publicly confessing her feelings right in the classroom. That's explosive news. Who wouldn't want to know? Chen Jiang was the first to let out a loud whistle. Even though he knew full well, he still laughed loudly and pressed on. Oh, who is it? Sister Liu. Who is that person? The 17 and 18-year-old male students were in the prime of their youth. It was when their blood ran hottest. Someone took the lead in joining in. The others also jumped in. Soon the whole classroom was filled with the excited shouts of the male students. That's right. Sister Liu, tell us, please, is that person in our class? Who is he? Who is he? Who is he? No, I don't know who it is. Suddenly started a chant, and quickly got a response from many people, even the female students in the class were all staring intently at the girl on the podium with fiery eyes. The chemistry teacher was also a man, leaning against the wall, witnessing this scene. A smile involuntarily appeared on his lips. Despite his status as a teacher, just a moment later, when he was about to speak up and stop them, a loud shout suddenly came from outside the window. What is everyone doing? Has class started yet? What's all the shouting about? What's going on with your class? Tian Siming had arrived at some point, he said, as he quickly swept into the classroom. Tian Siming is the school's disciplinarian. When he gets angry, is truly terrifying. He immediately suppressed this rowdy crowd of young men and women. The classroom that was as noisy as a market a second ago was now so silent you could hear a pin drop. Tian Siming snorted coldly. His sharp, heavy gaze swept over everyone. Everyone got the message and lowered their heads. Only then did he look at the defiant girl on the podium. Liu Ruyan, it's you again. Tian Siming felt speechless. He was at his wit's end with this stubborn, delinquent student. He could only let out a tirade of scolding. It's time for class. What are you doing on the podium? What is this? Are you the teacher? Are you planning to teach? Not at all. The girl, being scolded, had a cold expression, but she still wore a lazy smile. How would I know how to teach? I already said. If I teach, will you pay me a salary? Tian Siming was so angry, his eyes bulged and his mustache bristled. You know you can't teach. Then what are you standing there for? And you're demanding I pay you a salary? You're lucky I am not hitting you. Get down here right now. Don't waste the entire class learning time. Okay, she replied with rare obedience. She nodded to the chemistry teacher. After you, teacher. No way. Sister Liu, you still haven't said who it is. Some unknown male student lowered his head and pinched his voice, sounding very effeminate, suddenly blurted out such a sentence. The whole class burst into laughter. Tian Siming was so angry, he almost jumped up. All of you, be quiet. Who was that? Who would have thought that after he finished speaking? Liu Ruyan's flirtatious voice rang out again. I am not going to tell you. You all can just guess. Hiss. Boos immediately rang out everywhere. The chemistry teacher glanced at Director Tian's stomach, heaving as if it were about to explode with anger. So, he said seriously, all right, students, let's start the lesson. Information related to Liu Ruyan could always stir up a huge commotion. The rumor between her and Gui Boda spread very quickly, but the fact that she personally clarified the rumor spread even faster. By that afternoon, it had spread throughout all the schools in City A. Immediately after, a close source revealed more. Another shocking piece of news related to Liu Ruyan. That is, Liu Ruyan and the heartthrob from the vocational school, Chen Yu, have broken up. People based their conclusions on the clues they had. After careful analysis, they came to a conclusion. It seems like this time, Liu Ruyan is really serious. Although she had dated quite a few boyfriends before, no one had ever been publicly acknowledged and defended by her to this extent. So everyone was even more eager to dig and see who on earth could make a party girl school overlord care so much. Before the last self-study period, Song Jae pulled me out to the hallway for some fresh air. Song Ji chattered nonstop beside me. Let me tell you, my source at the vocational school said that Chen Yu came to school today with swollen eyes. I just hummed a distracted reply. I wasn't really interested in this kind of gossip. Song Ji was already used to that, but he still looked gleeful. Even though we know that Liu Ruyan's boyfriends have never lasted more than a month, But Chen Yu's was a record-breaking short one, just a mere 4 days. I heard Chen Yu even had to fight someone to win Liu Ruyan over, but in the end, Liu Ruyan didn't even give him a second glance. While they were busy talking, someone called Song Ji and me. I turned my head to greet them. Xiao Yuan, Xiao Ke, Wang Shen, and Xiao Ke came looking for Song Jie. They were also in the information network and had a good relationship with Song Jie, so they were also quite close to me. When Song Jie met them, it was like a fish to water. All three were discussing Liu Ruyan. What do you guys think? Sister Liu has such high standards. She even dumped a heartthrob like Chen Yu, so the person she's set her sights on this time couldn't be even more handsome than Chen Yu, right? Xia Qi suddenly spoke up. Wang Shen immediately retorted, Chen Yu has a great figure, and he knows how to style himself. How could anyone be more handsome than him? Who? Xia Ke fell silent. Song Ji glanced over at me. His eyes suddenly lit up. I know. Under everyone's confused gazes, he giggled and put his arm around my shoulder. Tada, the person even more handsome than Chen Yu is definitely our Xiao Fan. I think Xiao Fan is the most handsome. No one is allowed to argue. Xiao Fan is indeed handsome, but he's too gentle. If he were with Liu Ruyan, he definitely wouldn't be able to handle her. Xia Ke commented honestly. Xiao Fan, even though Sister Liu is very beautiful, you absolutely shouldn't get too involved with her. Wang Shen also nodded repeatedly in agreement. That's right. Sister Liu is very promiscuous. It's fine to fantasize a little, but if you really get involved with her, you might lose half your life. I know they're just concerned about me, so I just smiled gently, but I didn't promise anything. Only I know how wonderful that girl is. I once heard her rapid heartbeat. I once felt her passionate love. The sincerity and intensity in her heart is a love etched in my bones and heart. How could I not love her? If in this life she no longer loves me, then I would tell myself to just quietly protect her. Just seeing her happy would be enough. Her gaze in this life is still the same as in the last, even more passionate than before, making it impossible for me to let go. I will give her all the love I owed her from my past life, plus the love of this life. To make it all up to her, the bell for class rang. They still hadn't finished talking. They reluctantly dispersed to their seats. When I entered the classroom, out of habit, I looked towards Liu Ruyan in the last row. The girl had one leg propped up on Chen Jiang's chair, one arm resting on the desk, holding a deck of cards in her hand. Her cold eyelashes were slightly lowered. I don't know what Chen Jiang said that made her give a mischievous smile. Then she casually threw down a card, causing Chen Jiang to jump up to look at her cards. She leaned back and kicked her foot towards Chen Jiang. Her cold voice suddenly rang out clearly. Son, don't mess around. Chen Jiang knows when to advance and when to retreat. I'll call you dad right now. Just take back the card you just played. She raised an eyebrow. Say it. Let's hear it. I let out a small smile and suddenly realized someone was looking at me, squinting. I saw it was Gyu Boda. I retracted my smile and walked to my seat. Gyu Boda glanced at me once, then stood up and said, Be quiet. Class has started. No more talking. Everyone, more or less, looked towards him. The matter of Liu Ruyan, clarifying the rumor this morning, seemed to have no major effect on him. Not long after, the head teacher walked in. He walked around the classroom, then walked up to Gyu Boda and tapped on his desk. Gyu Boda stood up and followed the teacher out of the classroom. About a few minutes later, Gyu Boda returned and tapped on my desk. I was racking my brain over a math problem and looked up. Gyu Boda said coldly, The head teacher is calling for you. I was very surprised. With suspicion, I went to the office. I knocked on the door. Hello? Teacher. The head teacher turned around and said to me with a smile, Xiao Fan, come in. When I was standing in front of him, he put down the stack of assignments he was grading. Looking at this astonishingly handsome young man, the teacher once again marveled inwardly. This kid is really handsome. Having been a teacher for many years, he had met many good-looking students, each with their own charm. But my looks were definitely the kind that people would never forget. A face like this. In a few years, when he's more mature, who knows how much more attractive he will be. The head teacher was very fond of me, because even though I had a very striking appearance, I was very well behaved. Even though I was the school's heartthrob, and had no shortage of secret admirers, I always conducted myself properly, only focusing on my studies. It's just that my academic performance was always average, especially math, which always pulled my grades down. Teacher, did you need me for something? I asked politely. The head teacher gathered his thoughts. Towards a good student, he always appeared very gentle. Xiao Fan, our school holds an opening ceremony performance every year. You know that, right? I nodded. The head teacher continued. The performance will be in a week. It's a bit rushed to practice the acts now, but I know that in middle school, you won first prize in the provincial street dance competition, and it just so happens you're our class arts and sports representative. Please prepare a performance for this time. My breath caught. The rims of my eyes gradually turned red. I started learning to dance at age 4. My love for dancing was the most sincere. The accident that paralyzed me in my past life not only destroyed my body, but also withered my will and my dreams. I was bedridden countless times. I sighed, looking at my crippled legs. Countless sleepless nights I hid under the blanket, crying silently. The deeper my love for dancing was, the more pain I felt each day. Only being able to lie still in agony but now I have been reborn. I can dance again. I didn't expect that so soon. I could continue pursuing what I love most. The blood in my body seemed to boil. I felt the bridge of my nose sting. I clenched my fists, trying my best to hold it in, but tears still streamed down uncontrollably. Seeing me sobbing like that, the head teacher was a little flustered. He said frantically, "Xiao Fan, what's wrong with you? Am I forcing you too much? It's okay. If you don't want to dance anymore, then I want to." I wiped my tears, then said chokingly, "Teacher, I really want to dance. I just feel this opportunity is too precious, so I am very emotional." The head teacher gave a forced smile. "This is a bit too emotional." He handed me a few tissues. "Wipe your tears. If you're this passionate, then prepare the performance well. If you want to use the school's dance studio, I've already requested permission for you. I really did need a place to practice, because I had just been reborn. It's been 3 years since I've danced. My movements would surely be a bit stiff." I nodded. "Yes, thank you, teacher. All right, wait here for a moment. I'll go get the key for you," the head teacher said, then stood up and walked out of the room. 10 minutes later, he returned and gave me the key. "It's dance studio number 2. You can practice after school. It'll be tough for you for the next week." "No, it's not tough at all. I should be thanking Teacher Liu for giving me this opportunity," I said gratefully. The head teacher smiled. "It's nothing. You can go back to class. On your way. Tell Liu Ruyan to come see me." I had been in the office for nearly 20 minutes. When I returned to the classroom, I saw many of my classmates looking at me curiously, especially Song Ji, who was sitting up front, continuously winking and signaling to me. The corner of my lips tilted up slightly. I gave him a reassuring look. Then, under the watchful eyes of the whole class, I walked towards Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan had noticed me the moment I walked in. Seeing me suddenly walk up to her during class, she raised her eyebrows in surprise. "What's up?" I spoke softly. "Liu Ruyan, the head teacher wants to see you in the office." Chen Jiang giggled gleefully. "It must be because Sister Liu publicly confessed during chemistry class today," he said while glancing at me. Liu Ruyan slapped him straight on the head. Her long, slender fingers covered his eyes. Then she stood up. She knew her reputation very well. In private, she could tease me however she wanted, because that was between the two of them, but in front of so many people, she didn't want me to be gossiped about because of her, so she had to keep her distance and act cold. I saw her walk out, and also hurried back to my seat. Liu Ruyan leisurely strode on her long legs, walking slowly behind. The distance between them wasn't far, less than a meter apart. The rims of Liu Ruyan's ears quietly turned red. The dismissal bell at noon was the most exciting time of the week. As I slung my backpack over my shoulder, I looked towards the back of the classroom once more. Liu Ruyan still hadn't returned. As for Chen Jiang and Bai Ningbing, those two had already bolted faster than rabbits. There was no sign of them now. I thought about how ID asked her to go to the library on Saturday last time, and still hadn't received an answer. So I lingered and waited for another 10 minutes. But 10 minutes passed. Even the students on cleaning duty were getting ready to leave. Liu Ruyan was still nowhere to be seen. Hao Ran saw I still hadn't left, and asked in surprise, "Xiao Fan, haven't you left yet? Are you waiting for someone?" I nodded. She probably had something to do and left already. "I am going home now too." The two of us checked the windows together. After confirming they were shut tight, we walked out of the school gate side by side. I didn't ride my bike straight home, but stopped by the Jiayang Kanji shop. This year my family opened a breakfast shop. Business was very good. My parents had to work hard every day in the small shop. It was very tough. So whenever I had a day off, I'd go to the shop to help out. My family's kanji shop mainly sells breakfast. But in the north, people also have the habit of eating kanji in the evening. So the shop was always busy until after 9 p.m. When I arrived, I met a regular customer. I quickly greeted him. "Hello, Uncle Xiao Fan. You're out of school? Come to help your parents again?" "Yes, sir." I smiled and skillfully went behind the cashier's counter. I put my backpack down, put on an apron and a hat carefully, and took over for Mother Liu Ru, who was swamped with work. Mother Liu Ru saw me arrive, and truly breathed a sigh of relief. After entrusting the work to me, she was only in charge of scooping kanji and serving customers. The shop's business was booming. The whole family was so busy, they didn't even have time to drink water. Not until 9 p.m. When the kanji was sold out, could everyone finally sit down and rest. My mother asked me, "What do you want to eat tonight? Let me go buy it for you. My Xiao Fan worked hard today. Let me treat you to a delicious meal." I saw the beads of sweat on my mother's forehead. "I only work hard on a few days off, but you have to work this hard every day." The son's slow words were filled with heartache for his mother. My mother felt both comforted and content. As long as I can see Xiao Fan grow up healthy and happy, then no matter how hard your father and I work, well, be happy. I took a tissue out of my pocket and went closer to wipe the sweat from my mother. "No matter how hard you work, you still have to pay attention to your health. Mom, how about we hire 2 more people?" Actually, his mother had considered this before, but then she'd click her tongue and think, it's better to work a little harder than to spend money hiring people. The money saved could be set aside for Xiao Fan's future. In reality, it's just a little more tiring. And what parent doesn't work hard for their children? My mother patted the back of my hand. "It's all right, son. My Xiao Fan is in the prime of his youth. He needs to buy new clothes. He needs to eat well to grow taller. And in a few years, you have to go to university. Right now, I still have the strength to keep going. In a few years, after you graduate from university, by then, it'll be old and weak, not as nimble anymore. We can hire a few people to help then. Hearing my mother's words, I felt like my heart was being squeezed. That's my mother. Every single word was for my sake. But she had no idea that, in this very 11th grade school year, she would leave this world because of the terrible disease of breast cancer and leave her beloved son behind forever. She had absolutely no chance to wait for the day her son went to college. Nor did she know that just a year later, her son would also pass away in a car accident, and the husband she was currently relying on, after seeing her off, would have to face a son paralyzed for life. In the end, his hair turned white overnight. The tragic scenes from my past life appeared before my eyes, filling my heart with sorrow. I lowered my head to hide the tears welling in my eyes. After calming down, I said, "But I don't want you to work so hard anymore, Mom. I can buy fewer clothes. I just want you to have more time to spend with me. Mom, how many years has it been since you've truly spent time with me? How many years has it been since you've had a proper rest? Yesterday at school, I heard that a schoolmate in my grade, his mother just passed away from overwork. He's so young and already lost his mother. I can't even dare to imagine. If that happened to me, what would I do in the days to come?" As I said this, I started to cry. Liu Ru has a short temper, but she is also very sentimental and emotional, and she has great empathy. Immediately, she also felt heartbroken, thinking of leaving her immature son behind. Feelings of unwillingness, regret, and fear flooded her heart. I seized the opportunity and said, "Mom, please hire 2 helpers. Making money is important, but health is much more important. Okay, Mom?" Liu Ru turned her head and saw her husband, who was still busy even though it was time to rest, thinking about how he had to wake up at 3 or 4 every morning, busy all day without even getting 5 hours of sleep. Okay, she made up her mind. She decided to hire people. It's just money. How much can one earn to be enough? As long as it's enough to get by, it's fine. Your father and I still want to see Xiao Fan grow up and start a family. I was moved and hugged Liu Ru tightly. Yes, Mom and Dad, you have to stay with Xiao Fan for a long, long time. So whenever you're free, Mom and Dad, please go for a general health checkup. Why are you suddenly telling us to get a checkup? Liu Ru frowned. Why waste money on that? Your father and I are perfectly healthy. Please go, Mom. Please. It'll only be at ease if you go. Mom, if you don't agree, it'll go on a hunger strike tonight. Liu Ru could understand. She knew I was worried about their health, afraid that something might happen and they'd suddenly leave me. But she still scolded me lovingly. "You stinky brat. I've already agreed with you. Hurry up and tell me what you want to eat." By the time I got home and showered, it was past 10 p.m. I returned to my room, took out my phone, and searched through the newly created class QQ group, but I couldn't find Liu Ruyan. I only found Chen Jiang. I thought for a moment and sent him a friend request. Chen Jiang was at an internet cafe playing a game. A notification popped up on his QQ screen. When he saw the sender's name was Chen Fan, he let out a whoop and grabbed Bai Ningbing's arm. Bai Ningbing's in-game character was immediately killed. She angrily cursed at him. "You stupid dog. Damn it. Why did you suddenly shake my arm?" Chen Jiang pointed at the screen and said, "The heartthrob. Our class heartthrob just added me on QQ. What does he mean by this? Could it be that he has a crush on me? Oh no. I am doomed. If Sister Ruyan doesn't kill me for this, it'll be surprised." Bai Ningbing looked speechless. Her words were like daggers to the heart. "Go eat some crap to sober up. Hurry up and accept the friend request. The heartthrob is probably trying to find Sister Ruyan." Chen Jiang knew that Liu Ruyan had a secret crush on Chen Fan, so he didn't dare to delay. After clicking accept, he sent a winking emoji. "Heartthrob, what can I do for you?" I replied seriously. "Excuse me, do you have Liu Ruyan's contact information? QQ or phone number would be fine." Chen Jiang replied, "Ruyan rarely gets on QQ." Then he sent me her phone number. I sat on the edge of the bed, carefully composing my words for a long time. Then I finally sent my first text message to Liu Ruyan. "I want to ask you out. Are you free?" Liu Ruyan was stuck while writing code. Errors kept popping up continuously. While she was feeling annoyed, she saw a text from an unknown number, sending this kind of shady message in the middle of the night. She wasn't stupid. She knew at a glance that the other person was soliciting business. She scoffed and texted back, "I am not for hire. Get lost and sell yourself elsewhere." I saw this reply, and was both shocked and speechless. She actually saw me. As a prostitute, I double-checked the content I had sent. It was clearly very normal. How could she interpret it in such an indecent way? But it was also my carelessness. Just now was the first time I had initiated a text to her. The tension and excitement had overshadowed everything else, so I forgot to leave my name. Afraid of another misunderstanding, I quickly sent my name. "I am Chen Fan." The other end quickly replied with a series of question marks. Immediately after, in the quiet room, the phone suddenly rang. I was startled. Not wanting to disturb my sleeping parents, I hurriedly pressed the answer button and lowered my voice into the phone. Wait a moment. I burrowed my whole body and head deep under the covers. Liu Ruyan heard rustling on the other end of the line and silently guessed what I was doing. A moment later, the strange noise disappeared. The boy's breathing sounded as if it were right next to her ear. Liu Ruyan's heart suddenly clenched, and her whole body tensed up. Her thin lips pursed unconsciously. By now, I was well hidden under the covers, and gently called her in a hushed voice, Liu Ruyan. That voice was truly deadly. Liu Ruyan closed her eyes, and let out a long breath. She also lowered her voice to reply. Why did you suddenly call me? I asked nervously. Liu Ruyan let out a short laugh. Then she also imitated my manner, whispering in a hushed voice. Just to verify your identity. Don't you know there are a lot of bad men out there these days? A girl living alone like me can easily become a target, so I have to be a little cautious. I can't let any scumbag have a chance to take advantage of me. Her voice still had a careless, lazy tone, but because she was whispering, it sounded a little husky and charming. I felt my entire ear go numb. My face also started to heat up. Maybe it was because it was too stuffy under the covers, but I still hid in there. Seeing that the other end was silent, I spoke up in response. Then you have to protect yourself well. Of course, I have to keep myself pure for my future husband. Liu Ruyan suddenly remembered something, and took this opportunity to come clean about everything. Although I've had many boyfriends, I am a very good girl. You know, I am still a pure, innocent girl. She paused for a moment, then slowly asked, do you believe me? Chen Fan remembered when they kissed in his past life. Back then, she was so nervous that her head was covered in sweat. The corners of my lips curled up slightly. I believe you. Liu Ruyan felt the power of those words. Just that one sentence from me was enough to send her to cloud 9. She normally hated things that were beyond her control, and she especially disliked having her emotions manipulated by others. But I could easily sway her mind like that, and yet she was completely willing. She even found it sweet. Her voice became lighter. You believe me just like that? If you had answered that you didn't believe me, I could have given you a chance. What kind of chance? I felt a bit hot. I let out a soft breath. Liu Ruyan's sweet voice and coquettish breath were like an electric current running through my body. A chance for you to personally verify the truth. It took me a while to realize she was teasing me. I felt my body heat up. The air under the covers seemed to grow thin. Even breathing became difficult. I poked my head out from under the covers to get some air, then quickly ducked back in. Pretending not to understand, I changed the subject. I am planning to go to Xinhua bookstore tomorrow. Do you want to come along? Liu Ruyan thought to herself. The boy she fell for at first sight, all those years ago, was truly innocent and pure, so well-behaved it drove people crazy. He didn't even catch the teasing innuendos, or her flirting. His innocence made her feel a little guilty. She didn't tease me anymore. She let out a soft huff and said, seeing as you've already invited me twice, I'll reluctantly go with you. Such a proud and tsundere girl. I played along with her. You're such a good person. Liu Ruyan started to regret it. She shouldn't have made this call so late at night, because my voice was like a tease, scratching an itch in her heart. She took a deep breath, trying to suppress the turbulent thoughts welling up. She tried to keep her voice normal. Go to bed early. Hey, I blurted out. I cried out in surprise. At this moment, Liu Ruyan was missing me like crazy. Her mind was filled with scattered, chaotic thoughts. Startled by my cry, she almost let out a sharp gasp. She asked, through gritted teeth, what is it now? 10 a.m. sharp tomorrow morning. Let's meet in front of Xinhua bookstore. She replied, got it. After saying that, she quickly hung up. Liu Ruyan took a few quick, deep breaths. She looked down and sighed. With a helpless expression, she went straight to the bathroom. I had no idea that this phone call had caused Liu Ruyan to soak in the bathroom for 2 whole hours. After ending the call, I poked my head out from the covers, thinking about my parents' health checkup and my date with Liu Ruyan. I fell asleep before I knew it. Waking up the next morning, I rode my bike to work like on any other day off, heading to Zhaoyang Kanji's shop. Zhaoyang Kanji's shop was located just 2 blocks north of my house. It was also the street where, in the past, Liu Ruyan would often drop me off and we'd part ways. I used to always tell her to drop me off on the east side of the street, while my family's kanji shop was on the west side. In the summer, even though it was just past 5 a.m., the sun was already high in the sky. As I biked to the street with the kanji shop, I saw a very familiar figure from a distance, the perfect figure of a young girl, with an aura that was both nonchalant and ethereally refined. Even without seeing her face clearly, it was impossible for people to look away. She was wearing her usual baggy purple tracksuit, looking comfortable and energetic. She was leaning lazily on a bench under a banyan tree. Her neck rested against the back of the bench, and a black baseball cap completely covered her face. A hand with prominent knuckles rested casually on the cap. I blinked in surprise, and rode my bike towards her. Liu Ruyan was enjoying the early morning sun and breeze. She had just dozed off for a while. When she heard that deadly voice again, she lowered her head slightly, and the cap slipped down. As she squinted at me, she still managed to catch the cap perfectly. What time is it? I looked at my watch. It's just past 5. Didn't we agree to meet at the bookstore at 10? Why did you come out here to sleep? Last night, Liu Ruyan was in the bathroom until past midnight. Then she coded for a while longer. By the time she checked, it was already past 4 a.m. She knew that if she lay down in bed now, she would definitely sleep soundly until late evening. So, to not miss the 10 o'clock date, she decided to stay up all night and come straight here to find me. Of course, she wouldn't tell me these things, because everything she did for me was voluntary. So she didn't need me to be moved by it. Even less did she want her sacrifices to make me feel pressured. She wanted to have my love, and she only hoped for that love alone. Not guilt, indebtedness, or gratitude, or any other kind of pity. So what if I sleep here? I sleep wherever I want. That's called personality. You get it? I saw the bloodshot veins in her eyes. My face showed clear worry. You didn't sleep last night? Couldn't sleep, she replied. I curiously asked why. Why don't you try and guess why? She looked at me distractedly. Seeing her staring at me without looking away, I gradually became surprised and said, Is it because of me? She scoffed. Then she decisively changed the subject, looked me over, and asked, It's only 5 o'clock. Where are you biking to? It takes 40 minutes by bus from your house to Manhwa bookstore. Are you planning to bike all the way there? I shook my head. I am going to my family's kanji shop to help out. Oh, right, you should come with me. Liu Ruyan raised an eyebrow, a mischievous smile on her face. That doesn't seem very appropriate. Does it? Taking me to meet the parents already? Isn't that a bit too fast? Meet the parents? What are you talking about? She hit a nerve, and my face turned bright red. I mumbled under my breath. I just wanted to invite you to breakfast. Oh. So it's just for breakfast. Looks like I misunderstood you. Liu Ruyan stood up, rubbing her stiff neck, as she walked closer to me. But if you take me with you, how are you going to explain it to your parents? I answered honestly, just say you're a classmate. Just happened to run into a classmate on the way. What's so strange about that? Liu Ruyan tilted her head up slightly. The early summer morning, sunlight gently shone on her face. On her fair, smooth skin, even the fine, light golden hairs were clearly visible. She thought to herself, with such a simple and innocent appearance, if he wanted to deceive someone, he would surely become the most professional scammer. Run into a classmate on the way, my foot. She mimicked my slow manner, using my own words to tease me back. I am clearly on a date with you. What kind of classmate would bike halfway across the city just to run into you? My face burned with embarrassment. My hands tightened on the bicycle handlebars. Then I spoke slowly. Anyway, we can't let my parents know about the date. Liu Ruyan burst out laughing after hearing that. She waved at me. If your parents can't know about us, then you go to the shop first by yourself. I'll wait for you here. Come back and find me when you're done. It was almost the breakfast rush hour. I had no choice but to agree to her suggestion. All right, then I'll bring breakfast out for you later. Go on. I got on my small bicycle and slowly rode away. I arrived at Zhaoyang Kanji's shop and started my job as the cashier. Taking advantage of a lull in customers, I told Liu Ru about wanting to buy reference books. Liu Ru told me to just take money from the counter and go buy them, take as much as I needed. I did a quick calculation. I needed to buy a math reference book and a few sets of practice exams. About 200 yuan should be enough. Just then, the welcome chime at the shop door rang. I quickly put the money in my wallet. As I looked up, I saw a beautiful figure. A peerless beauty with a graceful figure was walking towards me against the light. Liu Ruan walked up to the cashier counter. Seeing the young man's dazed and lost expression, a hint of a smile appeared in her cold phoenix eyes. Hey, young boss, I'll have a bowl of soft tofu pudding and a steamer of buns. How much is it? I slowly blinked once. 10 yuan. Liu Ruyan took out a 10 yuan bill and placed it on the counter. I looked at her with my dark eyes and said, Please have a seat. He'll bring your order out to you in a moment. You even used polite language. How can you be so well behaved? Liu Ruyan smiled softly and winked at me. Then he'll have to trouble you, young boss. I felt my breath grow hot. I lowered my gaze slightly and turned to get her food. Don't be so formal. Liu Ruyan stayed at the kanji shop for about 20 minutes. After finishing her meal, she left immediately. I watched her leave. I felt a sense of relief in my heart. When she was here, although she was very well behaved the whole time, her gaze would occasionally, intentionally or not, drift over me. Being watched by such an intense gaze made me feel rather unnatural. It wasn't until around 9:30 a.m., when the shop was basically empty of customers, that I told Liu Ru and asked for permission to leave the kanji shop. I went back to the old stone bench and found Liu Ruyan. It's a bit far from here to Xinhua bookstore. Liu Ruyan was planning to call a taxi to get there quickly. Just then, a bus arrived. I led her onto the bus with me. Because we were at a stop very close to the start of the route, both of us were able to find seats. After I pulled Liu Ruyan to sit next to me, I suddenly realized how this proximity was enough to make one blush. My shoulder lightly brushed against hers. Her legs, though neatly tucked in, were so long that in the cramped space, they would occasionally brush against mine. Those touches, so light they were almost negligible, were making my heart flutter nonstop. Throughout the entire ride, I didn't dare turn my head to look at her even once. I just pretended like nothing was happening. I just focused on staring out the bus window, looking so much that my neck was about to get stiff. Suddenly, I felt a weight on my shoulder. I turned my head in surprise to look, and saw that she had fallen asleep at some point. Her head was just naturally leaning against my shoulder. At such a close distance, even my breathing seemed to slow down. It wasn't until the bus was about to reach the stop that she groggily woke up. Seeing that her eyes were still sleepy and not fully awake, I didn't mention what had just happened. I just quietly rotated my neck to relieve the stiffness. Let's get off. Luckily, I quickly found the reference book that Wang Kexin had recommended. After that, I wanted to find a few more sets of practice exams, fearing that choosing the exams would take quite a bit of time, and worried that Liu Ruyan would get bored waiting. I told her, feel free to walk around and take a look. Coincidentally, Liu Ruyan also wanted to look for a few other books, so the two of us temporarily went our separate ways. Liu Ruyan was engrossed in the computer-related bookshelf section. She stood there for a full half-hour. Then, carrying a bag full of books, she came back to find me. But as soon as she saw me, she couldn't help but freeze for a moment. Spread out in front of me were many open sets of practice exams. I was holding one set in my left hand, and another set in my right hand. There were even 4 or 5 more sets on my lap. I kept looking from one set, then turning to look at another. My head was spinning like a pinwheel. I looked incredibly busy. Seeing this, Liu Ruyan smiled softly. She walked over and also sat down on the floor next to me. You're still not done choosing. It's just picking a set of practice exams. Why are you being as careful as if you were choosing a wife? This little friend is so strict. Are you comparing these test papers? You're staring so hard. Your eyes are getting dizzy. No, I am not. I am still choosing. Even after living 2 lives, I am still bad at math. Every set of questions looks daunting to me. I can't tell the difference between easy and hard levels, and I definitely don't know which set is suitable for me, let alone which set is better compiled. Liu Ruyan saw my dazed look, as if my soul was about to leave my body. She chuckled and said, give it here. Let big sister take a look for you. I felt like I had just been granted amnesty. I immediately looked up and hurriedly stuffed all the test papers in my hands to her, as if I were getting rid of a hot potato. Liu Ruyan raised an eyebrow. I clasped my hands together. I am counting on you. I am counting on you. I've been looking at them so much I am about to throw up. My pitiful and slightly fawning expression made Liu Ruyan's heart itch. Useless thing, she snorted coldly, and casually picked up a booklet. She flipped through a few pages. In less than 2 minutes, she decisively tossed it aside for another one. I was surprised. Finished already? Liu Ruyan said without looking up. Did you even see the content inside? Liu Ruyan tilted her head slightly, looking into my eyes, which were full of scrutiny and doubt. She chuckled and snorted. Nope. Actually, this sister here is illiterate. What nonsense are you talking about? I realized she was deliberately teasing me, so I pointed at the book. Please continue, big sister. Liu Ruyan lazily picked up another booklet, just like the previous one. Her reading speed was too fast. The test sets I had laid out were taken by her, one by one, flipped through a few pages, then tossed back onto the shelf. Finally, she picked out 2 sets and put them in the stack of books she was holding. Seeing this, I asked, you're done choosing. Are these 2 sets good? Liu Ruyan smirked. These 2 sets look pleasing to the eye. I didn't doubt her at all. I hurriedly rearranged the test papers tossed on the shelf. After thinking for a moment, I asked again, are 2 sets enough? Should I pick another one? Their teacher often said, to succeed in the natural sciences, you have to rely on the sea of questions strategy. The upperclassmen all got ashore by swimming in the sea of questions. Liu Ruyan looked me up and down with annoyance. Isn't it good to have a pair of 2 sets? Are you planning to pick a third one to be the third wheel? This was the first time I'd heard someone use the term a pair to describe 2 sets of test papers. I was a bit speechless at her choice of words. Under her disdainful gaze, I timidly expressed my opinion. Didn't the teacher say we need the sea of questions strategy? We should pick a few more sets. See more. Do more. Then you'll naturally know how to do them, right? Unnecessary. Liu Ruyan carried the stack of books and walked forward. The exercises in these 2 sets, you finish all of them first. After you've thoroughly understood everything, then you can think about buying new ones. I obediently said, oh, and trailed closely behind her. Liu Ruyan continued, there's only so much knowledge. The types of problems are ever-changing, but ultimately, they all revolve around the core concepts. There are countless exercises on the market. You want to do all of them? You could work yourself to death and still not finish. Actually, I also felt the sea of questions strategy wasn't for me. My math skills are terrible. I am slow at solving problems, and my mind isn't that sharp either. Whenever I thought about having to drown in a sea of questions later, my whole body would tremble from within. Liu Ruyan's words made me feel like I had found a soulmate. I nodded repeatedly in agreement. That's right. You're not wrong at all. So many exercises. How could I possibly finish them all? So, doing the problems isn't the key. The key is to absorb the knowledge. What's important isn't how many you do, but how I do them. Whether I truly understand the essence of the problem or not. If you don't understand, then no matter how many you do, you'll still get them wrong. These words were a great awakening for me. I looked at the side profile of the girl talking confidently. I smiled gently and said, what you said makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Remember what you said. Liu Ruyan heard my tone and laughed nonchalantly. You trust me that much? You little friend. Have you forgotten I am a problem student? The words of us problem students aren't always right, you know. I looked over. My dark eyes met hers. I smiled faintly. I believe you. Besides, I also think the quality of the work is more important than the quantity. I really think what you said is right. A boy of 17 or 18. At this age, he completely doesn't know that affirmation from the person one has a crush on, for a girl, has such devastating power. Liu Ruyan's breath caught in her throat. That feeling of dying and coming back to life in an instant hit her again. She felt as if her heart was being held in the palm of my hand. I could easily mold it as I wished. The feeling of heartache mixed with excitement because of me. Every emotion was etched deep in her heart and soul. It was hard to remain calm. She had had enough. Just as I walked up beside her, Liu Ruyen reached out her long arm and locked onto my wrist. She gave me a forceful tug. My body lost control. Being pulled, my whole body stumbled backward. Just as I was about to hit the bookshelf, the girl put a hand behind me and supported my waist. Her whole body also pressed close, half enveloping me in her arms. She looked down at my stunned face, which looked like a delicate green bamboo shoot about to blossom, making one captivated. Chen Fan. She leaned in, closing the distance between us, and asked softly, "Who taught you that?" "Taught me what?" What a strange question. I didn't understand what she meant. Before I could even wonder, I saw her continue speaking, in a tone that was both helpless and doting. "How do you know how to flirt like that? This lad's life is about to be seduced away by you." Hearing this word from her mouth, Chen Fan didn't feel offended at all. On the contrary, he felt an indescribable tingling sensation. Perhaps it was because the distance between them was too close. Her face was right next to mine. With every blink, her eyelashes even brushed against my skin. Or maybe it was because the bookstore was crowded with people. At any moment, someone could walk over and see the two of them in this ambiguous, intimate position. I didn't know. It wasn't clear. I just felt my head spin. My breathing became ragged, so I nervously turned my head slightly to the side and said softly, "I didn't do anything. And I wasn't flirting with you either. I was just speaking my mind." "You're right. You didn't do anything." Liu Ruyen lowered her gaze. "It's just my heart that can't stay still." I suddenly turned my head back. Our four eyes met. Liu Ruyen stared at me intently. Her usually cold eyes suddenly became as serene as the deep night. "What are you looking at? Are you confessing to me?" Liu Ruyen seemed to have made some sort of decision. She smiled and said slowly, "That's right. So, Chen Fan, if you don't like me, then stop coming to find me in the future." She had been immersed in my closeness for the past few days, but she couldn't be satisfied with this short-lived dream. She wanted my smile, my body, and my soul, the intense companionship and bond. Day and night, those desires for me were initially suppressed deep within her heart, but the day I came to her house had pried open a crack in those sealed-off feelings. They seeped out and began to run wild. The better I treated her, the more intimate, the more indulgent, the more she fantasized about a future that was even closer and more passionate between them. She knew she was definitely not the upright or good type of person, and she also understood clearly that in front of me, she had no such thing as incredible self-control. So, before these feelings got out of control, while she was still clear-headed enough to control her emotions, she gave me a chance to escape, a chance to leave her. Before coming here today, she had intended to make things clear with me, because she hated this ambiguous, suspended feeling that led nowhere. But now, seeing me so quiet, with a tense and serious expression, she suddenly felt resentful and annoyed. She licked her lips, seemingly annoyed by my attractiveness. "Already so devilishly handsome, and you keep hanging around in front of this lady. Do you really think this lady is a pure nun with no desires? Stop being silent. If you understand, then say something." Chen Fan shrank back and muttered, "Why are you so fierce?" I tried to avoid the issue, deliberately changing the subject. Liu Ruyen immediately understood my intention. She let go of me and stepped back, glancing at me coldly. "This lady has always been this fierce. If you don't like me, then stop teasing me. If you really piss me off, Chen Fan, no one will feel sorry for you even if you cry." She saw I still had that pitiful look on my face. After speaking, she paused for a moment, took a deep breath, and tried to keep her tone as calm as possible. "Let's go. Pay up. Then let's get something to eat. I'll take you home." She had gotten an answer from me, and this answer was also within her expectations. "This is fine too." Back on Friday, the head teacher, Mr. Liu, had a long talk with her. He said the school considered her a lost cause, skipping class, smoking, fighting, dating right after school started, openly disrupting class order, and being incorrigible, refusing to listen, so they wanted her to drop out. Mr. Liu said she was the top scorer in the high school entrance exam in middle school, so he fought to get her one last chance. He always believed that she could change. If it were a week ago, she would have definitely chosen to drop out without hesitation to be free of it. Attending this crappy school or not made no difference to her. But after having someone in her heart to long for, she began to hesitate. She thought to herself, if I also had feelings for her, then no matter what happened, she would stay by my side and protect me. Now, this is great. A clean break. She could go back to her original life, clear-headed to do what needed to be done. Liu Ruyen had long thought that perhaps I didn't like her at all, because I was naturally gentle and treated everyone around me well. But when my answer was laid out before her, even when she started to regret asking for an answer, she suddenly realized that when it came to matters concerning me, she couldn't keep her heart calm at all. After all, I was the origin of her youth, a fleeting glance exchanged back in middle school that she could never forget since. However, she also understood well that the sunshine never belonged to her. It was just her delusion to want to pluck the sun from the ninth heaven. Liu Ruyen pressed her lips together tightly, not wanting to reveal her emotions. She maintained her usual calm expression while queuing. Not long after she paid, footsteps suddenly sounded from behind. She had just lowered her eyes when in the next second, a warm hand firmly gripped her wrist. The touch, like an electric current, annoyed her. "Haven't we made everything clear already? What are you trying to do now?" Liu Ruyen frowned slightly. and said in a hoarse voice, "I told you to stop teasing me. Don't you understand? If you have something to say, say it quickly. Don't touch me." She swung her arm, trying to push me away, but that hand slid down instead and completely grasped her hand. Then their 10 fingers intertwined tightly. Liu Ruin felt as if she had been struck by lightning, as if something had just attacked her, making her heart race in an instant. She was both stunned and frightened. She turned her head in disbelief, her deep black eyes staring at me, stubbornly wanting to see through every bit of my most subtle expressions and emotions right now. "Chen Fan." I could hear her voice trembling uncontrollably. Cautiously, she asked me, "What do you mean by this?" I applied a little more force with my hand, pressing our hands closer together. "I am just teasing you." Liu Ruian's throat felt like it was clawed with a cotton ball. Her expression turned serious. She said no more, only staring at me with an increasingly deep and scrutinizing gaze. From my blushing face, her eyes moved down to the small hand stubbornly holding hers. She suddenly let out a laugh. "Chen Fan, you really want to be the death of me." After saying that, she didn't say another word, simply pulling me through the crowd, straight to a relatively quiet flower bed outside the bookstore. The principle she had learned since she was young was that you have to fight for everything yourself. If I had clearly said I didn't like her, then she would have obediently kept her distance, so as not to bother me, but I didn't do that. I didn't reject her closeness. Not only that, after she confessed, I even said such an ambiguous and vague sentence, so she had to ask for a clear answer, to demand a chance for herself, even if that chance was only 1 in 10,000 to have me. "What do you mean by teasing me?" Her lips trembled slightly, but her tone tried to sound nonchalant. "Why are you teasing me? Is it because you like me? Or do you just want to play with me?" I could feel her tension, even though she was smiling. I blinked. "Is there a difference?" Liu Ruyan let out a low chuckle from deep in her throat. She moved a little closer. Her fingers gently caressed back and forth under my chin. "If you're teasing me because you like me, then this lady will be your girlfriend." "What if I just want to play around with you?" the innocent boy asked. I was handsome and elegant to begin with sharp eyes. When I uttered these words, it carried a provocation that was both arrogant and naive, but it made one even more captivated. Liu Ruyan clicked her tongue. "Then just play around. This lady will let you play." "Who told this lady to fall for you?" "Now, even if you asked this lady to be your puppy, this lady would be willing. What she needed was a chance. The title didn't matter. How it happened didn't matter either. The important thing was, she would definitely do her utmost to achieve the result she desired." I heard her words, and felt both amused and pained. Even though I knew early on that she liked me a lot, but hearing a girl in the prime of her youth say such things, my heart couldn't help but be moved. I shook my head. "But I don't want you to be my puppy." "You don't? This lady isn't even qualified to be your puppy." She seemed to have accepted her new status very quickly, and even felt indignant for herself. "Is this little friend so strict? Come, tell me, where exactly do I not meet the requirements?" I looked at her and mumbled, "You're not a real dog. This sister may not be a real dog, but I can be even more obedient than a dog. A human-turned dog. Has more uses than you can ever imagine." She enthusiastically marketed herself to me. "Please consider it." Seeing her get more and more excited, I hurriedly stopped her. "No consideration at all. If not a puppy, then fine. No more." "Then do you like cats? This lady can actually be a cat too." She was quick-witted. I was speechless. "Can't you just be a normal person? As a person, would you like me?" Liu Ruin's logic was extremely sharp. "Who said, I don't like you?" I was flustered by her stubborn reasoning, and accidentally blurted out my true feelings. The girl froze, then immediately raised an eyebrow. The depths of her eyes filled with a smugness, radiant as the spring wind. "What did I just say?" "I didn't hear clearly. Can you say it again?" She was clearly doing it on purpose. My cheeks burned hot, but the words were already out, like spilled water. I paused for a moment, thinking it'd have to make it clear to her sooner or later. So I looked up and straight at her. Under her smiling gaze, I said slowly but firmly, "I do like you. But right now, I just want to focus on my studies. Liu Ruyan, let's work hard together to get into the same university, okay?" I couldn't take the university entrance exam in my previous life. Going to university has become an obsession for me. And I also vaguely remember that in my previous life, Liu Ruyan also dropped out of school. But I don't remember exactly when. Therefore, having this second chance at life, I want to complete the life experiences with her that we both missed out on in our past lives. Such a good student. Liu Ruyan chuckled softly. She understood the subtle meaning in my words, and pressed her advantage, asking repeatedly, "If we get into university, will you date me then?" I shot her a glare. "Why is your mind only filled with thoughts of dating?" Liu Ruyan corrected me grandly. "Wrong. This sister here thinks about much more than that. I don't just want to date you. I also want to marry you and have your children. Give me a straight answer. Is it true that as long as we get into the same university, you will love me?" I shyly gave a nod. "An opportunity not to be missed. Once it's gone forever." Liu Ruyan replied cheerfully. "All right then. I'll listen to you completely. Study hard to get into university." As soon as she finished speaking, thinking of something, she suddenly laughed to herself. "Chen Fan, and you said you didn't know how to flirt." My face was full of innocence. And once again, I affirmed, "I wasn't flirting with you. I genuinely want a future with her, and is actually planning for the future of both of them." Liu Ruyan pondered for a moment. "It really wasn't just flirting. Just one sentence from you is making me spend 2 whole years. During that time, No dating is allowed. No kissing. No touching. You're actually crueler than a scammer. Every holiday, I have to go to the kanji shop to help out. After the two of them finished eating together, it was already past 3 inches the afternoon. Liu Ruyan took me to the usual spot. Then she also went back to her home. Just as she got home, a message was sent. This is the homework the teachers assigned for this week. Remember to do it. Liu Ruyan glanced at it and saw a ridiculously long list. She felt a bit dizzy. Every teacher was afraid of assigning too little homework. It was as if they were competing. One assigned more than the other. So many subjects piled on top of each other. The amount of homework made her tremble. My dear little teacher, can you give me some time? The current curriculum is a bit overwhelming for me. It's not a lie. She basically didn't study at all in 10th grade. The only subject she could understand was math, because she had participated in the math Olympiad before. She had already learned everything they were studying now. Besides that subject, the others were completely foreign to her. To catch up with the curriculum, she had to start over from the beginning. Liu Ruyan came up with an idea. Pretending to be pitiful, she continued to text and complain, because my foundation is too weak. I don't even understand the textbook content now, let alone doing the homework. I wonder if my little teacher could uphold the noble virtue of helping others and help a poor student who wants to improve. I saw this message and truly felt deep sympathy. I myself was reborn. Even though I studied very hard in my past life, coming into contact with textbooks again in this life still felt very difficult. Even, let alone Liu Ruyan, who had completely neglected 10th grade. Doing homework without knowing anything is not only a waste of time, but also self-torture. I understood that very well. I patiently replied to her. How should I help you? Tutor me. I felt a bit guilty. Actually, my grades aren't that good. You're better than me anyway. Liu Ruyan raised an eyebrow. We already said we'd take the university entrance exam together. You can't just focus on your own progress and leave me behind. Oh, my little teacher, say something. The girl had just barely regained her interest in studying. Under her guidance, how could I have the heart to discourage or refuse her? I only thought for a moment before replying. Okay, I'll tutor you. When do we start? Liu Ruyan saw that her plan had succeeded and eagerly asked one question after another. How about tomorrow? I don't know if it was because she was sure of my feelings, but even though we had just parted ways not long ago, she was already eagerly looking forward to the next meeting with me. I still have to prepare for the opening ceremony performance next week. After thinking for a while, I scheduled to start studying with her next week. This week, you should first go over the first chapter of each 10th grade subject. Note down whatever you don't understand. Okay, listen to whatever my little teacher says. Liu Ruyan thought I needed to review to prepare a lesson plan, so she didn't insist further. On the weekend, Liu Ruyan only texted me in the morning and evening. The rest of the time, she was busy with work. Having decided to study properly, she absolutely couldn't stay up late anymore. Otherwise, she would just sleep through class the next day. That way, I would surely be disappointed in her. She planned that after finishing the major project she was working on, she would temporarily stop taking on such big tasks. Everything would be prioritized for studying first. Only by studying can you be in a relationship with the person you like. This move of mine had really gotten her completely. As for me, I only replied with a few sentences. When Liu Ruyan sent a message, I divided the rest of my time into many parts. In the morning and evening, I had to help at the shop. Then I had to review 10th grade material, and also had to finish the assigned 11th grade homework. And I also had to prepare a street dance for the opening ceremony. In short, after a weekend, I was so busy, I was dizzy. To the point that when Liu Ruyan called at night, I hid under the blanket with my phone to chat for a bit. Then I accidentally fell asleep. The next morning, I woke up, because suddenly, in my ear, a low, alluring female voice rang out. I was startled and my eyes flew open. I thought a woman was lying in my bed. It turned out that the voice was coming unhurriedly from the phone. Chen Fan. Hey, little lazy pig, stop sleeping. It's past 6 o'clock. If you keep sleeping, you'll be late for school. Thinking about last night's phone call, I looked at the call log. It turned out to have lasted for a full 6 hours. I was stunned. I don't know if I talked in my sleep last night, or if I snored. Why didn't you hang up all night? To listen to you snore, of course. Liu Ruyan laughed, teasing me. You snore terribly loud. I've never heard such loud snoring before, so I couldn't bear to hang up. My face turned bright red. I don't snore. I knew you wouldn't admit it. I've already recorded it. Do you want to hear it? She said, half joking, half serious. Liu Ruyan. Even though I've lived 2 lives, the matter of snoring in front of a girl was still an incredibly embarrassing thing for me. I sulkily hung up the phone. I am not going to bother with you anymore. Oh no, I've gone too far with the joke. Liu Ruyan looked at the dark phone screen, got up from her chair, and sent me a message. You didn't snore. I was tricking you. Don't ignore me, okay? I didn't answer her. She sent several more messages in a row, but the result was still the same. Liu Ruyan chuckled softly. He's got some personality. When I arrived at school, the whole class had already arrived. Even teacher Liu was present. He glanced at the clock and nodded at me, signaling for me to quickly go to my seat. I bowed slightly, then ran quickly into the classroom. Out of habit, I looked up towards Liu Ruyan's seat and was suddenly stunned. The girl who usually slept sprawled on her desk had bright eyes today and was looking at me with a smiling expression. What are you looking at? Thinking about her saying I snored, I didn't bother to pay attention to her anymore. I arrogantly averted my gaze and sat down in my seat. It was just that the intense, burning gaze from behind me kept sweeping over me from time to time. I secretly took out my phone, hiding it under a book. I texted her, "Study, stop looking at me." This message proved to be quite effective. The girl stopped looking at me. I immediately felt much more relieved, feeling at ease again. I also took out my English book to study vocabulary. Halfway through the morning reading session, Teacher Liu clapped his hands at the classroom door. "Settle down, everyone. Stop for a moment. Now, let's go down to the courtyard for the flag-raising ceremony." I stood up and went downstairs. As I passed by Songji's seat, he put his arm around my shoulder, and we walked down to the courtyard together, laughing. It's our 11th grade's turn for the flag-raising ceremony today. There's Ningqing Yue. Every time this happens, I realize being a little short isn't a bad thing. At least I get to line up in the front to get a better look at the great beauty. Ningqing Yue. I tilted my head. A look of confusion appeared in my eyes. Isn't your idol Liu Ruyan? Why is it Ningqing Yue now? I had never heard him say anything about having a thing for Ningqing Yue before. Haha. Songji didn't think being a romantic was wrong. He explained to me that my idol is still Liu Ruyan. It's just that my dream girl has changed to Ningqing Yue. What's the crime in admiring two girls at the same time? Songji didn't care about my speechlessness. His face flushed as he excitedly recounted how he became infatuated with Ningqing Yue. It turns out that last Saturday, when he was going to piano class, his bicycle broke down. Ningqing Yue happened to pass by and proactively helped him fix his bike. She was like an angel descending to earth, so he fell hopelessly in love with her. Really? Oh my god, you don't know how beautiful she is. Song-ji shook my arm. I guarantee it. If you had been there at that time, you would have definitely fallen in love with her too. At this moment, someone walked past. I followed them with my eyes. I saw Liu Ruyan, Chen Jiang, and Bai Ningbing. The three of them were talking as they walked, heading forward. Song-ji said, "Oh, why is Liu Ruyan's group also coming to the flag-raising ceremony?" But to be honest, Liu Ruyan is really beautiful too. Ah. Whatever. I am not being picky anymore. Liu Ruyan or Ningqing Yue. Just give me one of them and I'll be satisfied. I pushed him into the line. Do the flag-raising ceremony first, then you can daydream. I am a bit taller than Song-ji. After pushing Song-ji away, I stepped back a few meters, then blended into the ranks. The phone in my pocket suddenly vibrated. I had a feeling it was from Liu Ruyan. I secretly took it out to look. The girl has a very unique personality. Even if it's just a text message, it was enough to make me blush immediately. "Hey baby, change your mind again." Huh. Chen Fan could almost imagine her flirtatious yet mocking expression when she sent this message, as if to verify my prediction. I pretended to casually turn my head to look back. The tall girl stood at the end of the line. Her face was too striking, even just wearing the school uniform. She instantly attracted everyone's gaze, but she didn't even pay attention to me. She lazily squinted her eyes, staring at her phone with a cold expression. Chen Jian, who was standing next to her talking, saw me. He giggled and nudged Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan frowned in annoyance. Chen Jiang pointed towards me. She suddenly looked up when she saw me. Her delicate eyebrows raised slightly, as if casting a spell. I felt like I was electrocuted and instinctively turned my head away. The phone immediately vibrated. Just one look at me and you feel guilty. Baby, have you really had a change of heart? This person never speaks properly, always calling me baby this and baby that. It makes my heart skip a beat. Say something. Baby, do you also think Ningqing Yue is prettier than me? She clearly heard what we said. How could she still jump to such a ridiculous conclusion? She's definitely trying to pick a fight. Someone had already stepped onto the stage. I was about to put my phone away, but the messages kept vibrating incessantly. What now? Do you need me to back off? To set you two up? I'll wish you well. Stop talking to your friend. I'll get jealous. Oh, you really dare to ignore me? I am coming over to find you. Well, talk face to face. I jumped in fright. We're in front of the whole school right now. To prevent Liu Ruyan from causing a scene, I quickly composed my thoughts and quickly sent a message. I don't like Ningqing Yue. Fearing that this one message wouldn't be enough to reassure Liu Ruyan, I thought for a moment and added another message. In my heart, you are the most beautiful person. The more I thought, the guiltier I felt. I felt these two messages still weren't strong enough. Liu Ruyan is the Thorn Princess. Once she gets angry, no one knows what she'll do. I thought for a moment, then sent two more messages. It's not that I am ignoring you. The phone signal was bad just now. Can you behave yourself for a bit? Liu Ruyan looked at the young man, who was anxiously looking around. Seeing that no one was paying attention to him, he took the opportunity while tying his shoelaces to squat down and look behind him. Seeing this, Liu Ruyan tried to suppress her laughter. She leisurely bowed her head and texted back, I guess you have good taste. What's so great about watching Ningqing Yue at the flag-raising ceremony? In a bit, I'll put on a show for you. I felt uneasy. What are you planning to do? Liu Ruyan didn't answer. At this moment, the flag-raising ceremony began. I put my phone away and focused my attention on the stage. To be fair, Ningqing Yue was indeed very beautiful. Unlike Liu Ruyan's cold arrogance, she possessed the delicate, intellectual face of a top student, the type of person that parents and teachers would all adore. After the flag-raising ceremony, came the speech under the flag. The speaker was still Ning Ching Yue. She wore the school uniform and a pair of light gray glasses. Her appearance was somewhat gentle, but her voice was extremely distant and cold, neither fast nor slow, without a ripple of emotion, as if she were a pure nun untouched by the secular world. Some people are just born to attract others. For example, Liu Ruyan. For example, Ning Ching Yue. She just calmly finished her speech. As she stepped down from the stage, thunderous applause erupted. It went on, until the discipline master went on stage and reminded everyone 3 or 4 times that the atmosphere finally settled down. The head teacher said, "Next. As is customary, it's time to announce the list of students who violated the rules last week." I pursed my lips slightly, guessing that Liu Ruyan's name would definitely be on it. As expected, I wasn't wrong. For the crime of skipping school right from the beginning of the semester and disrupting class, Liu Ruyan was criticized by name. No student at No. 1 high school didn't know Liu Ruyan. Of course, they also all knew this. This big boss was a regular on the criticism list regarding announcements like this, let alone Liu Ruyan not caring. The whole school had heard it so many times that no one paid attention to it anymore. Unexpectedly, this time the head teacher suddenly changed his tone. After many discussions with student Liu Ruyan has finally realized her own mistakes. She has decided to change completely and correct all her mistakes. Therefore, today, she has earnestly requested the school for an opportunity to stand before all the teachers and students and, under the national flag, deliver a profound self-criticism. As soon as he finished speaking, the students, who had been listlessly waiting for the ceremony to end to go back to class, suddenly all became excited and started buzzing. What? The school overlord, Liu Ruyan, wants to turn over a new leaf? She really wants to repent, and she's going to publicly deliver a self-criticism under the flag? Why has this world suddenly become so surreal? The head teacher looked at the commotion below the stage and raised his voice to add, "The school is always ready to give every student a chance. Making mistakes is not scary. What's precious is recognizing one's mistakes and correcting them so as not to repeat them. The school believes that every student is a good student." All right. Next, let's welcome student Liu Ruyan to speak. A gasp of astonishment arose from below the stage. Everyone started chattering with great enthusiasm. My God, it's really Sister Ruyan. She's willing to do a self-criticism? Could she have been possessed by someone? I guess she's definitely doing this for that guy, the one she admitted to and always fiercely protected. Whoa, if you say so. Has our romantic big sister finally decided to settle down? Does anyone know who the guy is that made her turn from her evil ways? It'd pay 500 yuan for that information. My face turned as red as a ripe gack fruit. I knew that Liu Ruyan had always never bothered with these criticisms, but this time, she was obediently going to do a self-criticism. I wondered if it was because of me. While I was lost in thought, the cheers were as loud as crashing waves. I looked up at the girl, who had already walked onto the stage from afar. The head teacher nodded at her, with a cold and indifferent face. She unexpectedly bowed to the head teacher. The whole school suddenly became even more lively. Some girls even whistled loudly and cheekily to tease her. Liu Ruyan didn't seem to mind. She strode forward on her long legs, one hand on the microphone, the other hand to her lips. She gave a half smile and made a quiet shh gesture. The shouting didn't stop. It even erupted into bursts of hearty laughter. Liu Ruyan wasn't in a hurry either. She maintained that posture. Her deep, cold eyes silently swept across the entire school. The girl of this year had not yet become the future President Liu, but every gesture exuded a sense of composure, possessing an indescribable aura and authority. She just waited silently like that, without saying a word. Her powerful aura slowly spread, until everyone had to fall silent. The entire vast school campus suddenly became dead silent. Only then did she calmly begin to speak. Respected teachers, dear fellow students, I am Liu Ruyan. The girl was naturally arrogant. Just stating her name was filled with pride. The brilliant morning sun poured down on her. She stood tall in that halo of light. Her face was somewhat blurry and indistinct, but her cold, proud voice was extremely clear. I believed that before. Many of you have heard my name more than once. Things like Liu Ruyan skipped school. Liu Ruyan got into a fight. Liu Ruyan is dating too early. Liu Ruyan was called out for criticism, and so on. My name always appeared in that way, on all sorts of not-so-glorious lists. Laughter broke out from below. Liu Ruyan also gave a brief, faint smile. Her breath brushed lightly against the microphone. To be honest, before this happened, I didn't care at all, because at that time, I was engrossed in skipping school, fighting, and dating, and all the activities that could bring strong excitement, while at the same time, trying to use them to numb myself, in hopes of forgetting my current pain. However, all avoidance became meaningless. The pain didn't disappear just because I ignored it. Those very activities that once numbed me, which initially brought me joy, but through the long years, gradually became the shackles that imprisoned me. They gnawed at me, wore me down, causing me to sink deeper into being lost time and time again, and I could see the way out less and less clearly. My fellow students, letting yourself fall is very easy. Becoming a bad person doesn't require any talent or courage. You just need the courage to let yourself go. To let yourself go without any limits. Then you can understand for yourself. Anyone can become the old Liu Ruyan, but there's nothing to be proud of in that. On the contrary, It's every single one of you present here. Every person who always follows the school rules, who always strives to study, those who are always serious about their studies, those who are always self-disciplined, those who are always positive and forward-looking, in order to become a better version of themselves, who never stop trying, always aiming for a single goal, and persistently striving for it every day. Those who live realistically and steadily are the truly extraordinary people. I feel proud of you. I used to feel inferior and hopeless, thinking I could never be one of you again. But someone believed that I could start my life over. The crowd, which had been silent, upon hearing this, sensed a hint of ambiguity, and erupted into teasing cheers. Someone even whistled loudly. Liu Ruyan smiled faintly, and continued to speak leisurely. Here, I want to thank the school for not expelling me. Thank you, Teacher Liu, my homeroom teacher. Thank you for being willing to trust me, for being willing to give me another chance to start over. That is why I have the opportunity to stand here to say these words to everyone. At the same time, I also want to thank a friend of mine. Thank you because he didn't give up on me. He made a promise with me to get into the same university, helping someone as lost as me find a new purpose in life. My friend, he studies very hard. He deserves to get into a really good university. So, in order not to be a burden to him, so that he can get into his dream school as he wishes, from now on, I will be a good student. I will follow the school's rules and regulations. I will study seriously. And starting from today, I am willing to accept the supervision of all the teachers and students in the school. Thank you, everyone. My self-criticism ends here. Thunderous applause erupted. Liu Ruin's expression didn't change as she nodded slightly. Bathed in the sparkling golden light, she walked majestically off the stage. I kept my eyes on her, until I could no longer see her figure. Then I placed a hand over my rapidly beating chest. I think that for the rest of my life, I will never forget this self-criticism of hers. I will never forget how she shone so brightly on that stage. Someone like her is just too wonderful. I don't know what she went through in her past life, to go from such a radiant and beautiful girl, to become so somber and cold later on. But since I've been reborn, from now on, I will always be by her side, never leaving her. To protect this wonderfulness of hers, I want my girl to be safe and sound, and to be happy forever. Liu Ruyan's self-criticism under the flag had a huge impact. During the first literature class, the literature teacher called on her directly. Student Liu Ruyan, please read this ancient poem Guan Kanghai aloud. Liu Ruyan could recognize the Chinese characters, so she read the entire poem fluently. As a result, in the second period, English class, Teacher Liu, the homeroom teacher, called on Liu Ruyan again to test her on the sentences from the previous lesson, asking her to translate them into Chinese. Liu Ruyan gave a carefree laugh, but her tone was extremely respectful. Teacher, I know you want to supervise me and want me to study properly, but can we consider for a moment the current level of a poor student like me? Those sentences you told me to translate, I don't even know where they are. The stuff in this English textbook, I am not acquainted with them, and they don't seem to be acquainted with me either. She was so brutally honest that the whole class burst out laughing. A student named Gao Ru chimed in with a concluding remark. Homeroom teacher, Sister Liu and them aren't very familiar with each other yet. You have to give her some time to let her get to know them and cultivate some feelings. The words were crude but true. Teacher Liu smiled and replied, all right, since you're determined to study properly, then quickly catch up on what you've missed. I'll test you again tomorrow. Liu Ruyan put on a serious expression. Yes, sir. The third period was physics, and the situation was similar to the second period. The physics teacher called on Liu Ruyan to answer. Liu Ruyan said she didn't understand anything. The physics teacher then asked, what part don't you understand? Liu Ruyan shamelessly suggested, teacher, have you ever considered teaching me again from the 10th grade curriculum? The physics teacher was an old man over 50. It was said that before becoming a teacher, he was a Taoist priest who lived very freely according to his whims, so he immediately scolded her in front of the whole class. Get lost. Go catch up on your own. If you don't understand, go prepare and review today. I'll test you again tomorrow. If you don't know, I'll scold you again. I'll curse you until you can't even lift your head. The whole class burst out laughing once again. The last period was math. Teacher Wang had always been fond of Liu Ruyan. Hearing that she had written a self-criticism, she couldn't help but sigh with emotion. This child has finally ended her rebellious phase. She wrote a sample problem on the board, then asked the class if anyone wanted to try it on the board. Everyone answered in unison, we can't solve it. Teacher Wang smiled and looked at Liu Ruyan. It seems this is what everyone wants. Liu Ruyan, come up to the board and give it a try. They were currently studying solid geometry, and this problem required proving a line is parallel to a plane. Everyone knew that Liu Ruyan definitely hadn't studied this part yet, so they guessed she would be like in the previous two classes, just making a fool of herself for the whole class. Liu Ruyan stood up, but she didn't walk to the podium. Instead, she solved it verbally, right from her seat. Her thinking was incredibly sharp, and her logic was extremely clear, while the rest of the class still hadn't understood what was happening. Teacher Wang was already nodding continuously in satisfaction. She kept praising her solution method for being even more concise. The morning passed by in chaos like that. The situation in the afternoon was similar. During the last period, before class ended, my phone, which had been silent for half a day, received a message from Liu Ruyan. How did I do today? I leaned to one side to avoid Goi Boda's line of sight and secretly texted her back. Very cool. Even cooler than your Ning Qingyu. Why does this person always like to tease me about that? I replied to her, feeling both helpless and fond. Who is Ning Qingyu? I don't know her. I only know that Liu Ruyan is the coolest. Stop flirting. She quickly sent back 2 words. After a short pause, another message arrived. I'll take you home after school. But starting today, I have to go to the dance studio to practice. I told her via text about the performance for the new school year ceremony. Liu Ruyan didn't reply for a long time, not until after school was over. When I arrived at the dance studio, I saw that the girl was already waiting at the door. I blinked in surprise. You haven't gone home yet? I clearly saw her leave the classroom right after the bell. It turns out she didn't go home, but took a detour this way. She raised an eyebrow slightly. Go home for what? My treasure is still at school. I tried to suppress a smile. I won't finish practice until after 9 o'clock. It'll be a long wait if you stay here. I walked over and gave her the key. She took it knowingly and opened the dance studio door. After entering the room, as if by magic, she pulled out a physics book and placed it on the table. I can just use this time to burn the midnight oil and strive for success. I smiled and praised her. Working so hard? That's great. Liu Ruyan snorted coldly. Most importantly, when I just came over, I saw Ning Qingyue in the room next door. Now I definitely can't leave. I took my dance practice clothes out of my backpack. As soon as I looked up, I saw the expression of the girl who was silently seething with jealousy. I couldn't help but feel helpless, but at the same time, I also felt a bit of pity. So I deliberately asked a concerned question. Really? Ning Qingyu is also in the room next door? What a coincidence. Huh. Hey. Liu Ruyan indeed looked displeased. Chen Fan, where is your mind wandering off to? I am still standing right here, you know. I quickly suppressed my laughter and kept a straight face, denying it vehemently. That's not true at all. Can you not falsely accuse me? As if it'd bother to falsely accuse you. She scoffed. That smile of yours just now was about to blind me. I hummed softly. But Ning Qingyu is indeed very beautiful. Besides, am I not even allowed to smile? Liu Ruyan paused slightly, narrowing her eyes. What did you just say? You're saying Ning Qingyu is more beautiful than me? I wasn't even afraid of death as I tilted my head to look at her. Her gaze lowered. Her thumb lightly brushed over my lips. Her tone was filled with danger. Say that again for me. If you dare say something I don't like to hear, I'll use my own way to make you shut up. The place she had just touched felt like an electric current running through my limbs and bones. My entire back went numb. I clutched the practice clothes in my hands, facing her possessive gaze. Feeling guilty, I hurriedly ended this topic. Then again, I weakly explained in a soft voice. I don't like Ning Qingyue, so stop being jealous over her. Liu Ruyan's eyebrows relaxed a little, but her tone was still full of dissatisfaction. You don't like her, but you say she's beautiful. And you even dared to say she's more beautiful than me. Well, who told you to keep misunderstanding that I like her? You just keep misunderstanding me. So I just wanted to make you a little angry. I was so angry. My cheeks puffed up. My handsome face flushed red with anger. Not only was it not scary at all, on the contrary, it had a childish look that made one feel helpless. When Liu Ruyan saw this, more than half of her anger dissipated. Her voice also became a bit gentler. You're quite something, aren't you? Is that what you call making me a little angry? You're trying to piss me to death. It's because you keep getting jealous over nothing. I don't even have to do anything, and you'll piss yourself to death. I asked if it feels good to be jealous over nothing. What do you think? Liu Ruyan glanced at me and retorted. I bit my lip. You deserve it. It was never true in the first place. Whether Ning Qingyu is beautiful or not has nothing to do with me. I only care about Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan's whole body suddenly stiffened. In her usually cold eyes, sparks of surprise and joy flashed. Baby, what did you just say? Say it again. I love hearing that. Just a few words from me were enough to make her feel like she was dying and then coming back to life. If I were a preacher, then she would definitely be my most devout follower. I saw her expectant gaze, but the next second, I pushed her hand away and said in a pouting tone, I won't say it. Liu Ruyan, you don't have any faith in me at all. You keep doubting my feelings. I get angry too. You know, I am going to change now. Liu Ruyan watched my back as I didn't even turn around, hugging my clothes and walking straight into the changing room. She smiled, self-deprecatingly. I may look gentle and not hot-tempered at all, but in reality, I am a very sensitive and delicate person. I had seen through her insecurity, weakness, and reservations. So I used a firm attitude to express my sincere feelings. I was that perceptive, both kind and gentle. Actually, she never felt inferior to Ning Qingyue. Liu Ruyan had never felt inferior to anyone in this world. Just give her a little more time. What others can do, she can also do, and even do it better. But what she was truly afraid and panicked about was that I wouldn't be able to wait through this period. That's why she always made those useless comparisons, to confirm my feelings time and time again. But luckily, her boy had seen through it all, had always been tolerant of her, and had kissed her trembling soul. When I finished changing and came out, I saw Liu Ruyan in the middle of the dance studio. She was sitting on the floor, leaning against the wall, one leg bent, holding the physics book in her hands, lazily reading with her eyes lowered, hearing the sound. It seemed she hadn't completely emerged from the knowledge in the book, so she slowly raised her head to look. Doesn't your neck get tired reading like that? I asked. There were no tables or chairs in the studio, only a single soft bench for resting. I asked curiously, why aren't you sitting on the bench over there? Liu Ruian looked at me. Her dazed eyes gradually regained focus. She was stunned for a moment, then hummed softly. It's not very clear from over there. I raised an eyebrow slightly. That's true. I went to the bar to stretch and warm up. Liu Ruian waited for her body to return to normal, and also walked over to the bar. She looked at my side profile and said, "You're talking to me again? I thought you were still angry. I thought you wouldn't understand me." "That's right. I've been ignoring you for a whole 5 minutes." I replied. "You mean the 5 minutes when you went to change just now?" Liu Ruian chuckled softly. "Hey, little friend, why are you so easy to please? I haven't even had a chance to coax you, and you're already not angry anymore." I placed my right leg on the bar and leaned forward to stretch until my upper body was completely pressed against my leg. My voice came from below. "That's because I don't want to be angry with you. I cherish the time we spent together, so I don't want to waste it on being angry or arguing. So, don't make me upset anymore. Okay, aren't we together because we like each other?" My voice was extremely gentle, but those words landed like a giant boulder in her mind. "That's right. We got together because we like each other. So why, while being together, must we keep making the other person angry and then argue with them?" Her teenager was actually more thoughtful than she was. Liu Ruian reached out her hand and gently stroked my head affectionately. "Baby is right. Go on and practice. I'll be right here, watching over you. Once you decide to do something, you have to give it your all to do it best." After that, I didn't talk to Liu Ruian anymore, but silently warmed up and practiced dancing on my own. The young man, with the graceful bearing of a celestial crane, his tall, handsome figure like a painting, was dancing gracefully right beside her. The hem of his clothes fluttered with every step. The book in Liu Ruian's hands hadn't been turned to a new page for a long time. She basically had no mind for reading anymore. It was as if she had returned to that time 2 years ago, on the day she had been moved by me. It was during the summer break of 8th grade. Because Liu Tanbin was constantly engrossed in gambling, her family's situation was always difficult. Her mother's meager income was only enough to provide food and clothing for the two of them, to lessen the burden on her family, and also wanting a better life for her and her mother to improve a little. She often worked part-time after school. Sometimes, she would dress up as a giant stuffed animal. Other times, she would work as a promoter in a supermarket. But the wages she received were never much. After saving up for an entire semester, she only had about 3,000 yuan. She had originally planned to take out 1,000 yuan to take her mother to buy some new clothes. She was always reluctant to spend money on herself, always wearing the same set of clothes over and over, even though the clothes were really old. But before she could even spend that money, Liu Tanbin, while she was at her part-time job, snuck back home and took all the money hidden under the mattress. He didn't even leave her a single cent. Just when she thought life was about to get a little better, she was once again plunged into poverty. She hated Liu Tanbin, hated the man who had brought her so much suffering, hated the one who always tried to drag her down into a dark abyss. She hated him so much, she just wanted to find him and kill him with a knife. But when she saw her mother sobbing, and her remorseful, pained expression, she could only hold her tightly and softly comfort her, saying that she was all grown up now. If the money was gone, they could always earn it back later. Her mother cried until midnight, only going to sleep after she was exhausted, perhaps because her body was too tired, or perhaps because her spirit was completely broken. The next day, she came down with a high fever. All the money in the house had been taken by Liu Tanbin. She had no choice but to borrow 100 yuan from a neighbor to buy fever medicine for her mother. However, even after giving her mother fever medicine for 3 straight days, her fever stubbornly persisted. She realized something was wrong and carried her delirious mother to the hospital on her back. The doctor diagnosed her with pneumonia and said she needed immediate treatment. Otherwise, her life would be in danger. She was in desperate need of money, and at that time, she had only just started to explore and research computer technology, so she couldn't make money immediately. In her desperation, she called Brother Dao, the person who often introduced her to part-time jobs, to ask if there were any high-paying jobs with quick payment. Brother Dao on the other end of the line told her, "There is such a job, but I am afraid you might have the life to earn this money, but not the life to spend it. My life is cheap. If I die ill, just consider it bad luck." Following Brother Dao's directions, she went to the worry-free, stress relief shop. On the way there, she was still secretly guessing, with such an artistic-sounding name, what would they ask her to do that could pay as much as 500 yuan an hour? But when she arrived, she finally understood. It turned out the job was to be a human punching bag. The so-called human punching bag wasn't someone standing behind a punching bag, but a real person squeezed inside the punching bag, using a real person to replace a regular punching bag, for people to freely punch and kick to vent their anger. Vital parts of the body would be well protected, but other areas were left for customers to vent on as they pleased. Each hour, like that, would earn 500 yuan. Depending on one's physical condition, one could take more or fewer shifts, but the most important thing was that the wages were paid daily. Liu Ruan quickly took the job. After putting on all the protective gear, she crawled into that small, stuffy punching bag to grit her teeth and endure the punches and kicks that rained down on her. Her saying that her life was cheap was not self-deprecation. In fact, she probably had to thank Liu Tanbin for his beatings. Thanks to them, her endurance became extraordinary. Even the feeling of pain gradually became numb. While the colleagues next to her were beaten until they cried miserably and constantly begged for mercy, she remained silent, not uttering a single word. She gritted her teeth and endured it for a full 5 hours. Her name instantly became famous throughout the shop. The shop owner used her as a promotional gimmick to attract more female customers to the shop. They all flocked there just to get a satisfying beatdown on her. The time she had to endure the beatings thus gradually increased from 5 hours, extending to 8 hours a day. Every day, her face and body were covered in bruises, large and small. It was almost impossible to find an unscathed spot on her skin. But a miserable fate is a miserable fate. Even if the day before she was beaten until her face was swollen and bruised, even vomiting blood, as long as she could go home and get a good night's sleep, she could still go back the next day and take more beatings. The number of customers seeking her out grew day by day. Their blows also became increasingly ruthless because everyone wanted to see her scream in pain. She knew to beg for forgiveness. She immediately took the opportunity to mention a price increase to the boss. The price per hour increased to 1,000 yuan. Having only worked for half a month, she had already earned over 70,000 yuan. Her mother's illness was cured. She knew her body was reaching its limit. She asked the boss to quit her job. That day, the shop welcomed a big shot. The boss said it was Sister Zhuo, the daughter of the city's richest man. Sister Zhuo was very young, looking at most 5 or 6 years older than her, but from head to toe, she exuded an air of nobility built with money. Her hair was meticulously styled without a single strand out of place, wearing a suit worth over 10,000 yuan. She crossed her legs and looked up at her mockingly. 100,000 yuan. An hour. You in? What's the condition? She asked. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this world, especially for a worthless life like hers that heaven had never cared for. Sister Zhuo raised an eyebrow in surprise. Pretty smart. Huh. The condition is that you can't use any protective measures. You want to buy my life for 100,000 yuan? She laughed coldly. It turns out in the eyes of the rich and powerful, her price was only worth 100,000 yuan. Sister Zhuo shrugged, clasping her hands on her lap. I think 100,000 yuan is already too much. Besides, with a life as worthless as yours, I doubt you'd even die. Liu Ruyan let out a contemptuous scoff. You're right. My life is worthless, so I probably won't die. If you can beat me to death, then I'll admit you've got some skills. She was ready to enter the fight and went straight into the punching bag. From Sister Zhuo's very first punch, she realized immediately. She wasn't like the usual people who came here to vent their anger. Those people just punched and kicked wildly without any technique. Sister Zhuo was different. Her punches were incredibly powerful. She was clearly someone who trained regularly. She could only carefully curl up her body, trying her best to protect her most vulnerable parts. But even so, when the hour was over, she felt like she had lost half her life. After the boss and his staff took her down, she lay flat on the ground, gasping for breath. Blood flowed endlessly from her nose and mouth. Sister Zhuo took off her boxing gloves, walked over to her side, and looked down at her. She laughed out of anger and cursed. What a damn worthless life. You didn't even die from that. So resilient. If you need money in the future, just come find me. I'm in need of a dog with a worthless life like yours. She snapped her fingers. Someone brought 100,000 yuan. She threw the wads of cash at her face as if giving alms. She lay on the ground for a long time, tilting her head to watch the sun slowly set outside the window. Darkness fell. She felt her body start to grow very cold. Her limbs gradually became numb and heavy. Just when she thought she was about to die, in a daze, she saw an angel appear before her eyes. He looked at her with great worry, and even shed tears in his panic. What happened to you? How did you get beaten up this badly? You're bleeding so much. Let me call an ambulance for you. She didn't know if she was already dead to be able to see such a beautiful angel. She wanted to speak and ask, but she choked on blood. His warm tears fell on her face. His trembling hand wiped the blood for her. Don't say anything. It must hurt a lot, right? Please try to endure it for a little while. I've already made the call. The ambulance will be here soon. Classmate, you have to hang in there. She was taken to the hospital and was discharged 2 days later. Based on the information the nurse provided, she guessed he was probably studying at the street dance school, located right next to the GEU cafe. When she arrived at the dance school, they were practicing dancing. She stood behind the transparent glass, silently, calmly, yet full of longing, looking inside. In that moment, a single glance felt like 10,000 years in Liu Ruyan's heart. From then on, her god had a clear form. The young man from 2 years ago and the person who was spinning and dancing before her eyes gradually merged into one. Liu Ruyan had never been so grateful to fate. The same fate that had made her taste so much of life's bitterness had given her an incredibly precious gift right on the eve of her 18th birthday.